occurring both in Christian County and Greene County. National Weather Service staying on top of this, trying to find areas of more rotation. I do want to look. I'm keeping an eye out for areas that aren't severe warm, trying to keep an eye out for things over in Taney County, parts of southern Christian County. Good thunderstorm occurring over in Saddlebrook, good thunderstorm occurring along Highway 65. This doesn't scream tornadic. I want to see a little bit more, I should say I don't want to see a little bit more on reflectivity and velocity picking up on well before I want to see a tornado warning on that. So hopefully this can continue to pass sub-severe. The tornado warning is still occurring just crossing Highway 65. Let's go to the velocity. Let's find the area of where this rotation is occurring. And this is trying to tighten back up. Guys, I talked about this 5 minutes ago. I said this is getting broad. It's making it harder for things to organize. I want to continue to see it spread. It's starting to tighten back up. If you're watching from Ozark and Sparta, get into that safe place. I imagine the National Weather Service is going to extend this tornado warning. They're seeing this rotation. They're going to continue to push this polygon. They're going to continue with this tornado warning. Because if I was them, that is what I would be doing. This tornado threat is still absolutely there. I will say the threat is now to the east side of Highway 65. Here's the threat. East of Highway 65 on that drive between Ozark and Branson, up and down those hills, here's that threat, and it's going to continue to move off into the northeast. It's moving rather slow. So I know people in Ozark, the sirens probably went off, I think, about 15 minutes ago. People have been in shelter. Stay in shelter at this time, expecting this tornado warning to get extended by the National Weather Service. In the latest scans, it's getting stronger. It's not getting weaker. So continue to stay with this. Continue to take this one seriously. Let's go back to the tornado warning that is occurring over in Greene County. The National Weather Service starting to trim up this polygon, and it makes it difficult because it is essentially right on top of the radar site. Get a good look at this. And thankfully, this is not as intimidating as what it was. From what I'm seeing, I'm not as concerned. I'm looking on multiple different radars right now, checking different products. The velocity isn't screaming at me. I'm not seeing anything that screams tornado on the ground, not seeing anything that screams heavily impacted. And I do want to state, if you are watching in Springfield, as long as you're not north of I-44, you're in the all clear. So if you're watching from Springfield and you're south of 44, so that's essentially the majority of the town, you're in the all clear. Come out of the basement, come out of the closet, come out of the bathtub. Just rain and thunderstorms. I understand it's still raining very hard in Springfield, especially for the east side of town, and all clear is issued for Springfield. I'll say that one more time. All clear issued for Springfield. If you're south of I-44, go ahead and get out of your tornado safe place at this time. But if you're in Fairgrove, kind of along 65, this is the area you need to be getting into shelter. This is the area that you shouldn't be taking lightly. Let's go with that shot. Speaking of kind of the Stratford, the Fairgrove area, we got a shot on MoDOT on I-44, mile marker 88. Little messy because we have all this rain. This is not going to be a very pretty funnel. This is going to be a rain wrap system. This tornado is going to be embedded within this line of thunderstorms as it marches across. We had a very prominent wall cloud earlier, and now it's starting to get very messy with this tornado trying to hide and tuck within this line of thunderstorms, which is going to make it a little bit harder to detect. Most people won't be able to tell until it's right on top of you. It's a good shot right there. I-44 and mile marker 88. I do want to stress, if you are watching from Fairgrove, you need to be in shelter at this time. If you're watching north of Stratford, get into shelter at this time as well. The other area, let's focus back. We got 2 tornado warnings. I'm trying to bounce back and forth as much as I can. I know people are watching from both areas. I do want to stress, if you're watching from Springfield, I'm giving you the all clear. If you're in Springfield and you're south of I-44, you have the all clear. You can come out of shelter at this moment. The other area, looks like the National Weather Service, did they cancel that tornado warning? I think that tornado warning was set to expire at 7:30. It is now 7:30. I do want to stay on air. We still have that tornado warning that's going into Greene County, and if you are watching from Christian County, that tornado warning no longer up. I'm not letting my guard down on this one. I'm not letting my guard down on this one. Still seeing areas of rotation, and I'm not ready to rule this one out. So if you're watching from Ozark, if you're watching from Sparta, I would get ready to get back into shelter. That warning was expired, but I will tell you right now, I'm not ready. There we go. There we go. I told you I was not ready to wave this one off because I'm still seeing signs that this can produce a tornado. National Weather Service reissuing that tornado warning. This includes Ozark. This includes Sparta. If you're watching from Ozark, I know the tornado sirens have been going off for a while now. Make sure you stay patient. If you've been in that closet for 15, 20 minutes, continue to stay patient. Stay with me on this. Continue to ride this out. I will stress, if you're watching from Nixa, looks like you guys are going to be the lucky ones. This is going to move to the west of you. Even if you're watching from Fremont Hills, I don't know exactly. Fremont Hills, of course, in between Ozark and Nixa. Fremont Hills is very close to being within this polygon. I do think the threat is going to slide to the east of Fremont Hills. It looks like most of that threat is going to occur in between Ozark and Sparta. Here's that rotation, and this appears to be the stronger one. The National Weather Service reissuing this tornado warning for Christian County at this time. 2 tornado warnings. We're going back and forth. We're going up and down on them, trying to provide updates one at a time. Here's the second tornado warning, and the National Weather Service, they extended the one in Christian County. I don't know if they're going to be extending the one that is occurring in parts of Greene County. This isn't as impressive as a rotation. It's not as strong as a rotation. If we can go from 2 tornado warnings down to 1, tell you what, I will be all for that, hoping we're going to be able to get this, at least one of these warnings to expire, at least one of these warnings to cancel. And you don't want to see any tornado warnings, and we're at 2. I'm hoping we can start to get that reduced down to 1. It is in the middle of Christian County. I want to start to focus a little bit more on this Ozark tornado warning, as I think it's the stronger of the 2. And in fact, we have a couple tower cameras in Ozark, and I'm going to pull those up. I have not looked at them. I don't know what we're going to see here. I don't even know if they're going to load for me, but okay. Yeah, we'll stay on this shot while I kind of load our Ozark camera as well. Not sure exactly where this is. So this is just north of Ozark. Looks like a lot of the rain has started to slow down into that area as well. As I'm saying this, I'm loading up one of our cameras in southern Ozark. This is going to be a good way for us to kind of track what's going on. National Weather Service saying, hey, they're still seeing signs of rotation. They have also a new warning, a flash flood warning has been issued for Howell County. It's a big concern that we have. We have a lot of rain. We have the tornado threat. We have 2 going on at once. All right, I got our Ozark camera pulled up. If we can kind of go to that camera that's happening, take Max 1 full if you can for a moment, and I'm going to try to spin this around. This is located on kind of that west side of Ozark. It's that area that is under that tornado warning, and this is what the visual looks like right now. Heavy rain occurring across Ozark. The tornado warning has been issued as well. If you're watching from Ozark, I want to stress you will not be able to see this tornado coming. There's not going to be a pretty funnel. Visibility's drastically getting reduced at this time. The only thing consistently occurring is heavy rains, and even look at this tree that's starting to whip around as well. So this is what's going on in Ozark. Messy skyline, rain starting to pick up. The main threat right now is in Ozark. That's the area that I'm most concerned about at this moment. We're still seeing signs of this system trying to produce a tornado again. If you're just tuning in now, this was a confirmed tornado that went across Christian County. I don't have indications right now that this is on the ground. I don't have a spotter on that's telling me this is currently on the ground. And even radar is saying it's not as strong as what it was when it was on the ground. But it's going to try to produce. It's going to try to strengthen back up. And that's what it's been doing over the last 5 minutes, is that intensity is getting a little bit tighter. That rotation is getting tighter as well. So here we are with this shot over Ozark. We still have 2 tornado warnings at this time. Second warning is going into parts of northern Greene County. And we also have a new flash flood warning issued as well. So 2 tornado warnings, 2 big flash flood warnings. Let's talk about both. I've been hammering the tornado warning. Here's those 2 tornado warnings. I hope you know, if you're watching from Christian County, if you're watching from Greene County, get into shelter at this time. Thankfully in Springfield, I can issue an all clear. Nixa, I can give you an all clear as well. Ozark, get into shelter. Fair Grove, get into shelter. Flash flood warning, where radar was estimating somewhere between 3 to 5 inches of rain dumped in areas where this green polygon is. And over West Plains and Howell County, another place where 3 to 5 inches of rain has been very quickly dumped. And you can notice a big break. if you're watching from Howell County, you had those thunderstorms. It's starting to let up right now, expecting things to be quiet for you for the next couple hours, and then here's this next line of thunderstorms that we have to push through. And this also looks like the final line of thunderstorms for tonight. So if you are watching from really areas along the I-49 corridor, the concern of a tornado, not for you. If you're watching just one row in, like Barry County, in Dade County, in Cedar County, in St. Clair County, and Henry County, the threat of a tornado, not for you. It's areas that where this line of storms are right now, and as they progress to the east, that tornado threat is going to continue if we can't get this system to die down. Thankfully, over the last half hour, the trend is that these storms have been getting a little bit weaker rather than stronger. We want that trend to happen. We want these storms to die down. We want them to run out of gas, and what's also going to help is we're starting to run out of sunlight. You run out of sunlight, you start running out of juice for a lot of these storms. All right, looking at the two different tornado warnings that we have. The first tornado warning in Springfield is set to expire relatively soon. What's the time right now? Time right now is 7:37. This warning is set to expire at 7:45. This is the warning in Fair Grove. So this has 8 more minutes on this tornado warning if the National Weather Service doesn't extend it, and hoping it continues to stay on its best behavior and the National Weather Service doesn't continue to push this downstream. If they see signs of things starting to tighten back up, I imagine another tornado warning is going to be issued at this time. We have multiple spotters in Ozark. Spotters in Ozark are reporting they're not seeing anything touching down. They're reporting heavy rain and the inability to see anything. Let's go to this I-44 camera to really stress that point. Here's the visibility. I want to stress this. This is why I'm telling people get into shelter if you're from Ozark. This is when it was on top of Springfield. I was screaming, get into shelter, because you're not going to be able to see the tornado until it's essentially in your front yard, until it starts picking debris up in front of you. Visibility is drastically reduced. If a tornado forms out of this, we've had 2 confirmed tornadoes. If another one tightens back up, you will not be able to see it with just how messy and how hard it is raining outside. The threat right now, the immediate threat right now is the tornado warning. The threat in the coming hours and the threat overnight tonight will be the flooding that's left after all of these rains have dumped on top of us. Immediate threat right now. What I want people to care about is getting into shelter. Let's make sure we can be safe of these tornadoes. But as soon as those tornado warnings expire, the threat is going to change to flooded streets, to flooded roads, and people without power. Let's get an update on power outages if we can. I know it may take you a minute or two, but let's go ahead and try to get that updated as well. Positive update from the National Weather Service before we go to that power outage map. They are going to let this tornado warning, the one that went across Springfield, the one that was confirmed in Springfield, the one, let's go back to radar real quick. I want to quickly wrap this up before we get to power outage, if we can. I want to give good news. That's why I want to stick on this. This tornado warning, the one that was confirmed in Springfield, the one that went across Springfield and is now in places of Fair Grove, the National Weather Service is going to let this expire in 6 minutes. That's their way of saying, we're not going to continue with this tornado warning. We're seeing this getting weaker. We're not going to continue with this downstream. So I am going to try to focus my talk rather on this tornado warning to the second one that's going down to Ozark. Before I kind of give an update on that, let's go to power outages and talk about how many people are without power at this time. A lot of these power outages are with the storms that we saw all around 5 o'clock today. Polk County, 325 people without power. Just go to the left there in Cedar County, 153 people without power. And over in Benton County as well, give me an update on power outages. That is 275 people without power in Benton County. Across the state, that is 1,800 people without power. And a lot of times, this website, it's a little slow. It kind of gives information about an hour after the fact. So we'll continue to provide updates with this on power outages. But positive update, we had 2 tornado warnings. The tornado warning that went across Greene County, that is going to be set to expire by the National Weather Service. They're agreeing with what I'm seeing. It doesn't look like it's getting stronger. Rather, it's getting weaker on that front. Just one tornado warning right now we have to focus on. This is what's occurring over Ozark, and look how messy this is. There's not a well-defined hook. We still have that possibility, that threat of a tornado, but you're not going to get that as this is a rain wrap system, and it looks like the threat of this is going to move just to the east of Ozark. If you're in Ozark, if you're in Sparta, you need to be taking shelter right now. I know a lot of people have been in shelter in Ozark for maybe a half hour at this point. Continue to stay patient. The worst of the storm is what you're starting to get right now. So this is the time you absolutely need to be in shelter. Do not lose faith on me. Continue to stay in your safe place. Continue to ride out this storm. It is going to start to move out of your area, but until I can give you an all clear, continue to stick with this. The rotation looks pretty close to kind of where this hook is along 14. So Highway 14 is the place that I kind of pinpointing the most rotation at this time, pinpointing the area that we need to be focusing on, pinpointing the area that I think we're going to have the largest impact over into the Ozark area. I know we have Jesse Inman joining us in studio now. Jesse, do you have an update for me?
Yeah, Matt. By the way, nice job holding this down for the last couple of hours here and really all day as things have started to progress in the area. Just got into the station going north on Highway 65. Matt, you just mentioned it, that there was a ton of rain with this system that was coming in. And I'd heard you talking earlier when I was at home that any tornadoes that would be out there are going to be rain wrapped. So definitely can speak to that going north on Highway 65. Still trying to dry off myself as I come in here. But guys, what camera are we looking at right here? This looks like 65 here, like it would 65 and 44. Okay, and so, well, what do you know? Got a little rainbow starting to show up here, which kind of makes sense because coming in and exiting off of Division, you started to see some sunshine out there. And that was, rain has been a big problem with everything that I've been seeing out there right now, just from being out on the streets. I know we got no windows here at the Ozarks First Studios, so your only real window to the world would be our tower cameras and cameras that we've got access to here. So, Matt, as we sit here right now, can you give folks kind of an overview on where we're at with warnings, watches, both in the way of tornadoes and with flash flooding?
You're seeing that rainbow over Springfield. I think that's a good sign that almost stresses the fact that the main tornado threat in Springfield has ended. I've said this earlier. I want to stress again, if you are watching in Springfield, all clear for everyone into Springfield. That tornado threat for you, the best opportunity we had to produce a tornado, that's what happened about 30 minutes ago. That has moved out. So starting to get some peaks of sunshine, I imagine, fairly soon in Springfield as well. 2 tornado warnings, this tornado warning in Fairgrove, this tornado warning in Northern Greene County, this tornado warning that was confirmed over Springfield is set to expire in, I think, about 90 seconds from now. So the National Weather Service has no plans to push this downstream. It has to prove that it can produce a tornado until they issue another tornado warning on that. It gets us down to just 1 warning. We went from 2, now we're down to 1. We also went from 2 confirmed tornadoes, and now we just have this tornado threat that's occurring over into Ozark at this time. So this is where kind of that main area, that main threat is. Where this leading edge of thunderstorms is as it's marching from west to east across our viewing area. Very good rain and thunderstorms occurring across Christian County. The tornado threat starting to really get weakened. It's starting to get less of a threat of what we've had earlier, but we're going to continue to stay on air until I can fully issue an all clear for everyone into the area. Jesse, I know you mentioned this earlier. The main threat that we had was flooding, and flash flood warnings have been issued across Greene County, across Christian County, across Stone, across Berry County, across Dade County. Here's the area where that flash flood warning was issued, where multiple inches of rain has been focused. And as we get past kind of that tornado threat, the main threat for tonight is going to be this lingering rain. The main threat that we're going to have to get through is all the flash flooding. I know West Plains has been having to deal with multiple cars being submerged, multiple homes being flooded with water, and that's the same system that we're having on top of us that's bringing these multiple inches of rain as well. So want to quickly look at radar. I know a positive change is there is currently no tornado warning in Christian County. I'm not ready to just say no tornado warning, we're getting off air, because, well, there was no tornado warning in Christian County. The National Weather Service reissued a tornado warning. I think this is a time where they're going to reissue another tornado warning. So I'm going to stay with this as it looks like tight rotation is occurring south of Sparta. Not seeing a tornado warning right now. Expecting a tornado warning to be issued very soon with another area of rotation that's occurring in Sparta. Not a warning at this moment. I at least want to write it out for a couple more minutes before we kind of get off air. So at this exact moment, no tornado warnings. Tornado warning has expired in Greene County. No tornado warning in Christian County, but I'll show that rotation. I'm going to stay with this a little bit longer because I still think that there's signs that we can get a tornado that's producing in Sparta. I do want to kind of show that off. I mean, this is a very prominent area of rotation in between Sparta and Chadwick, right in here, south of Sparta to the west of Chadwick. I would issue a tornado warning on this if I was the National Weather Service. I think they're waiting for a scan or two, but this is an area that needs to be tornado warned south of Sparta, west of Chadwick. This is showing signs that it's trying to tighten back up. It's showing signs of rotation. It's showing signs that I think we're not quite yet done. So for that reason, I want to stay on air just a little bit longer. I do not feel comfortable issuing people in Sparta and Chadwick an all clear. I'm not going to get off air until I can issue everyone an all clear. So for that reason, we're going to continue to stay on air. I do want to stress, if you are watching from Greene County, I can give you guys an all clear. If you're watching from Rogersville, that threat, quiet right now, a leading edge of thunderstorms, things expected to pick up in Rogersville as well. So here's that kind of fast line of winds, the thunderstorms being focused, moving out of Springfield, expecting things to start to calm down in Springfield as well. Here's that area of tight rotation that's occurring into Christian County at this time. So still signs that this is trying to produce a tornado, still signs that this is going to really strengthen up as well. And Jesse, if you can kind of provide an update on what you're seeing on, was that US 65 and Evans Road?
Yeah, and you're talking about that area of rotation, which would be in the southeast area, and I'm glad they have us both pulled up here at the same time. They've got you've got that area of rotation that you can see pretty clearly, that red glob right there. That's my non-meteorological way of describing
well, it's spot on.
This camera is just about due east of where that area of rotation is that Matt is describing. This would be US 65 and Evans Road. This is kind of been where a lot of the action has been today. Has been along Highway 65. If you're just joining us here on Ozarks First, I mean, Matt was on in the last, I guess, an hour ago or so, starting with where things began to fire up. First, that tornado warning here across the Springfield area. That one turned out, that seemed to be more of a precautionary situation with what was believed to be a confirmed tornado in the southwest side, and then fired up with another tornado warning south of Ozark and Christian County. But right now, Matt, just following that area of rotation, just heavy rain is what the story is right now. Flash flooding being obviously a pretty big concern in a lot of parts of the viewing area right now. I was checking on Ozarks Traffic, a great resource for not only traffic cameras, but information on incidents right now. I'll pop off camera just for a second to grab my iPad here to kind of see what they have listed as far as that goes. Really, the only thing they had listed were a few stalled vehicles, which is great news. There was an unknown injury accident they had reported on eastbound I-44 east of Springfield, which is kind of consistent to where all of this has sort of started to move off toward. I know Fair Grove, that area was kind of believed to be maybe the next folks up for some potentially severe weather. Very good to know that has since kind of died off. The National Weather Service has allowed those warnings to expire. So, and Matt, like you said, just kind of in the waiting period right now between tornado warnings. Well, and there's a new one.
Yeah, we got a new update. This is why I didn't want to get off air, because we had no warnings for, I think, about 4 minutes, but I said I don't want to get off because I think this is going to produce again, and there we go. National Weather Service issuing a tornado warning, and this rotation is right on top of Sparta. If you've been watching from Sparta, you should have been in shelter a while ago, but I want to stress that again. This rotation is right on top of you. If you are watching from Ozark, I believe I haven't said this earlier, I'm going to give an all clear in Ozark. So you can get out of shelter in Ozark. You can get out of shelter in Nixa, in Highlandville, in Saddlebrook. Get out of shelter there. Even in Chadwick, it looks like the worst of it. This rotation is now to the north of Chadwick. So if you're watching from Chadwick, you can get out of shelter there. Here's this tornado warning. That's very tight on top of Sparta. This is why I didn't want to get off air, because it was showing signs of getting tighter. It was showing signs of trying to produce that tornado. And there we have it on top of Sparta. This is going to try to move to the northeast, and it looks like, if you're watching from Rogersville, going to be close. We're going to have to see how this moves in kind of the latest scans, if it wants to go closer to Rogersville, if it's going to go closer to Fordland. But it's right on top of Sparta at this time, and that's some pretty good rotation. It has really started to increase. I want to take a step back because I want to kind of talk about the bigger picture here. Man, here's that rotation before I do. It's right in there. You start to see where the winds are starting to hook in, right where that notch is, to just to the east of Sparta. That's where that tornado threat is, and it's going to try to move to the northeast. But taking a step back, I'm issuing an all clear for Ozark. If you're watching from Ozark, come out of the basement, come out of the closet, come out of the bathtub, get outside. It's safe for you now. Still going to rain, still going to be thunderstorms, still going to be some activity. I think that tornado threat has ended in Ozark. If you're watching from Nixa, a lot of the rain's starting to stop as well. Things starting to get a lot quiet from Springfield. Things are getting quiet as well. Most of the rain is going to be wrapping up in Springfield as well. Fair Grove, very heavy rain is occurring at this time. I'm not seeing anything that looks like a tornado at this moment. I want to continue to kind of follow up and down this line. Polk County and Dallas County, not seeing anything that looks tornadic. Falling into Christian County, we're going to have to continue to watch this as kind of this line of thunderstorms have been very strong, just riding parts of Stone and Taney County. This is an area I'm going to keep an eye out for, but nothing screams tornado into this area either. So,
Matt, something I want to ask you about is how fast these storms are moving, because they kind of have seemed in the last little while here like they've been kind of slow plodding, slowly moving to the north and east here. How fast are these moving, and how soon can folks in areas like Rogersville or Fordland expect to see some of this potentially come their way?
Well, that's a good question. Let's get that plotted out. They're moving about 30 miles per hour. I want to plot this for 35. So let's kind of plot it for if these storms start to pick up speed. So this may be a little bit faster than what actually happens, but I want to get people prepared for a worst case scenario, not prepared for the best case. So it looks like this path that it's going to be moving on, this rotation, wants to move it closer to Fordland rather than Rogersville. If you're watching from Rogersville, you're in that tornado warning, your phone was blaring, the sirens are going off in town, I would be getting into shelter. I do not feel safe issuing an all clear in Rogersville, but the latest scans wants to push it closer to Fordland and Seymour rather than you in Rogersville, and it's going to get into Fordland in what, 20 minutes? Dig-ins in about a half hour. So here's that path where it continues to move to the northeast. Those scans have still tight rotation at this time. We do have a chaser on this. So we are going to be able to have eyes that are going to be able to report if they're seeing anything touching down. It's going to be hard for them to relay information to us just with how hard it's raining. Visibilities have drastically decreased with this system. It's one of these that you can't tell that there's a tornado until it's on top of you. It's incredibly messy, and that's what's adding to the danger of this storm. And also it's getting to 7 o'clock at night, and pretty soon we're going to be running out of daylight. I'm wondering, did the National Weather Service just confirm that tornado? It looks like the National Weather Service is confirming that tornado. I'm going to try to see if I can see a debris ball. I believe the spotter did not confirm that. I believe the National Weather Service saw something on radar that they were able to confirm it. Let me pull up the debris. Let me try to see what they are seeing as well. So there's some signs of debris. Yeah, let's go back a scan. Let's go back a scan.
Can you describe for folks out there what you're looking for when you're looking at that debris ball, what you're actually looking for?
This is a really messy graphic. It's really hard to pinpoint what you're looking at sometimes because you're seeing an array of 100 different colors at once. But what we're looking for is the radar is scanning up into the atmosphere, and it's searching for anything that's not spherical. Anything that's a perfect sphere, probably going to be a raindrop, probably going to be something natural. A 2x4, a branch, radar can pick up on that being thrown thousands of feet into the air and say, something's not right. This little dot right here, I know it's messy, but this looks to be where that debris ball is. Kind of looks to be, for me, the area where I think we have that best chance of being some debris that's getting lofted into the atmosphere. That's just to the east of Sparta, right there. I'm pointing it out on your screen. National Weather Service seeing enough to confirm this. We also have a spotter in that area. I do have a report of someone who's not in Sparta, but they're from Highlandville, where this tornado was about 20 minutes ago, and they're reporting damages. They're reporting trees down. They're reporting trash cans getting slung around. They're reporting all this activity as well. So here's this rotation. National Weather Service confirming this tornado. This is the third confirmed tornado we've had in, I think, the last hour. So this will continue to tighten up, and that's why I didn't want to get off air. It's still showing signs of strengthening, still showing signs of wanting to produce at this moment. I am looking for areas just north of, this is another area, we may get another tornado warning. So I don't know if the National Weather Service is seeing what I'm seeing, but what I'm seeing is just to the east of Fair Grove, you're starting to see this notch. You're starting to see another place where winds are forming. I think this is going to be another area where we have a tornado warning. I want to give a heads up on that. Let's flip to velocity. I think we have one confirmed tornado right now. We may have another tornado warning very soon as I'm starting to see signs of, here's how it looks on velocity. Another area where we're trying to get right in here, close to Elkland. Look at that. That's another area where I think we may get another tornado forming. So just to the east of Fair Grove, to the west of Elkland, another place a tornado is trying to form. This may get a tornado warning very soon with what I'm seeing right now. I would say if you're in Elkland, get into a tornado safe place. No warning on this at that time, but this is another area where something else is trying to form. Don't want to lose sight of the second tornado because this is really strong. Look at this tight velocity that's moving to the east of Sparta. National Weather Service has confirmed this as a tornado. From what I'm seeing on radar, it absolutely deserves that. It has that tight rotation. It continues to move to the northeast. If you are watching from Rogersville, looks like it's going to be moving to the east of you. Looks like it's going to be getting closer to Fordland, Seymour, along this line and Highway 60. It's moving very slow.
Yeah, and Matt, where that strong indication that you're pointing at there, that's going to be right along Highway 14 in Sparta, just to the east of that area. You can see where 125 and 14 all kind of come together there in Sparta. It looks like what you're saying is just east of that area. So, and as it moves to the north and east, is kind of, just a marker for folks who are out in that area to pay attention to. So if you're along 14 and north of that, that's kind of the area that Matt's pointing to for you.
Yeah, going to get just north of 14. So right now, I mean, Jesse, that's a great call out because here is that velocity and it's directly on top of 14. Right on top of 14. We probably have cars driving up and down this road not even knowing that they're about to drive into a tornado right on top of 14. I think this scan's about a minute or two old, so I would argue now, probably in this latest scan, we're going to see it shift just north of 14, but there's that tight rotation. It's moving to the east of Sparta. If you're watching from Sparta, stay with me, stay into your safe place. Give me about 5 more minutes. The focus of this tornado is starting to move out of town, starting to move north of 14, but continue to stay in shelter at this time if you're watching from Sparta. Not at the point that I can say an all clear for you guys yet. I mean, look at that. That is some very tight rotation, confirmed tornado at this time. I do want to look at that second area that I was saying, hey, we may have to have a tornado warning, and I'm still seeing signs that this is trying to produce 2 different areas west of Elkland and also pushing back in north of I-44. These are 2 different areas that I'm saying can't let our guard down yet. This was producing a tornado earlier. This is the same system that produced a confirmed tornado in Springfield. Now it's moving along I-44, trying to tighten back up. Here's one area to the west of Elkland. Here's another area where winds are trying to push back in north of I-44. This is that second area that I think we could see a tornado at this time. So not warned yet. I'm keeping my eye on both of these locations. So if you're watching from Marshfield, make sure you're getting ready. If you're watching from Elkland, if you're watching from even Niangua, if you're watching from really northern Webster County, that's another place that we need to keep an eye out for that we may have a tornado warning being issued for very soon. Wow, that's a really good shot on I-44, Jesse.
Yeah, this is mile marker 85. I do want to jump back to, you're talking about Sparta here, and I want to go back to the map that Matt has, if we could pull up his graphic one more time. And I'm kind of trying to follow around some landmarks there in the Sparta area.
Let me zoom back in for you.
Yeah, that area, I mean, a major landmark in that area would be Sparta High School, kind of in the area of all of that rotation that you're talking about. Maybe not at this point on the leading edge of that, to the north and east of there, but that signature that you're seeing there would have just gone over the area of Sparta High School, or at least somewhere near it. So folks, that's trying to give landmarks for folks who may be in those kinds of areas to just be aware of how close this could be to them. So again, Highway 14 and north and east of that looks like this is going to stay just to the west of Bruner as far as where it is currently on the scan that, Matt, that you have pulled up here. Still waiting on another scan, I would assume, to come in for where this would be tracking after the fact. But Sparta High School kind of seems like one of the areas that have, and this is, I mean, the heart of Sparta, not far from where this is. I mean, you've got a lot of the homes and businesses there at 14 and 125. That's kind of where Sparta is kind of located right upon. And Matt, it looks like you've got another tornado warning there.
This is
That's where you were talking about.
I hate that I was right, but this is the second time in a row I said, hey, I think a tornado warning is going to form. A tornado warning did form, and this is the location that it did. The place I was warning you about, north of I-44, north of Marshfield. This is getting closer to Elkland. This is getting closer to Niangua. This is that second area I said, guys, this is trying to produce a tornado. There's no warning right now, but get into shelter at this time. That's north of Northview. If you are watching from Stratford, this tornado is to the east of you. You should be good. If you're watching from Fairview, this tornado threat is to the east of you. You should be good. But it's these two different areas. There's two different little circulations that are moving in there. The first one is just north of I-44. The other one is getting closer to Elkland. That's a new tornado warning that has been issued. That's an area that I was warning you guys of. We still have this confirmed tornado, and I cannot confirm. I cannot confirm this, but I do have people, spotters, that are saying that they are seeing a funnel with this. They're saying that they could be seeing a touchdown with this as well. From what I'm seeing on velocity, from what I'm seeing on radar, it makes sense to me, but I can't confirm that myself. If we can go back to kind of me in front of the green screen, if we can switch that back. Rotation in the latest scan wants to put this on top of not I-44, Highway 14 is that area where the latest rotation has been, and it is wanting to be slow to update for me. I think it is getting closer. This hasn't updated in a little bit, so it is putting this rotation on top of Highway 14. Jesse was saying this is right on top of Sparta High School. This is slow to update. I think that tornado threat is a little bit closer to the north. It's getting closer to getting out of Christian County than what this radar system is saying. It's been slow to update, but the kind of update on everything that we have. Let's take a step back because we have two tornado warnings at this time. If you are watching, I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between these two different tornado warnings. Confirmed tornado just to the northeast of Sparta. A second tornado warning has been issued for the northern portion of Webster County and the southern portion of Dallas County, as that's an area where we've seen a couple different circulations that have tried to tighten up, a couple different areas of circulations that have tried to produce as well. So this is what we're looking at right now. Here's that latest scan. You can start to see it on velocity really close to Highway 38. I'm trying to point to it out for you guys right here. We're just about to hit Highway 38. This is that area of that rotation that this has been tightening up over the last 10 to 15 minutes. This is what has been trying to produce. National Weather Service issuing a tornado warning for that as well.
So what we're going to do is you're going to keep doing what you're doing,
Yep.
and I'm going to go to our personal computer. So I'm going to
Okay.
work off of that
Yep.
because the other one I'm not even going to get on. So
If you do want to
you're doing a great
switch,
job.
yeah.
Just keep going. I'm just going to try to get myself acquainted to what's going on right now. I know we have this tornado warned storm in the Sparta area.
Yes.
You know, this is we had a quiet spell in there, and then everything kind of fired back up here over the last hour and a half or so.
That velocity is still really tight, Jamie.
Yeah.
Jamie Warner joining in studio right now. Jesse Inman also in studio as well. Here's what I was saying. I was waiting for that scan to come back in. Here's that still very tight rotation. You can see it going up and looping back around. Here's that area of rotation. It's now to the north of Highway 14. It also looks like if you're watching from Rogersville, I would get into shelter, but this is still an area that should go to the east of you and Rogersville. I think areas in Fordland are closer to be impacted rather than areas over in Marshfield, or rather Rogersville. We do have a tornado warning in Marshfield, and also we got a camera shot on I-44 and Highway 38. That was that area that I was saying, look at this rotation crossing Highway 38. If we can pull that up, you can start to see, I'm not seeing anything that screams wall cloud. I'm not seeing anything that screams funnel cloud. I'm not seeing anything that screams currently on the ground at this moment, but here is that shot, I-44,
Yeah.
Highway 38 over in Marshfield. That's where that second tornado warning has been issued. So this one is not confirmed, but Jamie, over the last 10, 15 minutes, all it has done is gotten stronger and
And
stronger.
Matt, that circulation, you mentioned how the camera shot there is off of 44. So the circulation is about almost 4 miles
And we're-
off to the northwest of I-44. So, you know, you're kind of looking several miles off toward the northwest, toward that updraft base to see if there is indeed a circulation. And again, this is just one of 2 tornado warned storms. I mean, you've been going over. I mean, we've got the other one that has been tornado warned to the south. At one time, at least, at one time a confirmed tornado with that. I think that was based on radar, correct?
All 3 tornadoes have been confirmed. So the tornado that was over in Springfield was initially confirmed. The tornado that occurred in Christian County was confirmed. That was with a debris ball. I guess the only tornado warning that hasn't been confirmed is the new tornado warning that just occurred in Webster County. So we've had 3 confirmed tornadoes in, I think, the last hour, Jamie. So it's been very, very active, and hoping to wrap this up. But if anything, it continues to tighten up. And Jamie, if you can, look south of Christian County, south of Sparta. I think that's an area that may be another rotation. I can get your thoughts on that.
You're talking to southwest of Chadwick.
Yeah, I'm talking southwest of Chadwick.
Yeah.
This looks like another spot that we're trying to produce another tornado as well.
Yeah, a little west of H Highway.
So we got one that's moving out of Christian County. If you're watching from Chadwick and Sparta, we may have another one that's trying to produce right
there
behind
may be.
that.
It looks like it's about 1.5 miles to the west of H Highway, a little northwest of Cobb Ridge, at least based on the mapping that we've got in front of us. So yes, and that's how these things have gone. This is a scenario today where the storms aren't that strong. It's just that there's just enough rotational aspect to the atmosphere for these storms to generate these circulations. And I would guess that the tornadoes that we have seen occur have been weak and small in nature. That's the good news here. It's just that there have been several.
The Ozarks. You can find it on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. To break right here at 10:32 with a live look over the skies west of Joplin. Cloudy. We do have a flood watch in effect for some parts of the Ozarks with lots more rain on the way. Tom's going to let us know our timeline on that heading into our Sunday. Stay with us, folks. Facebook and X. And don't forget to download our apps. Check out our website, ozarksfirst.com. We're heading
Marshfield, that wind surge is coming into the Marshfield area from the southwest. I would guess, and of course, I think you were looking at that MoDOT camera.
Let's go back to that MoDOT camera. I'm trying to see if that's a wall cloud on that MoDOT camera. It's a little bit messy, Jamie. I can't. I don't want to label it as.
It looks like we're looking
it's very
northwest.
Blurry.
And see, the thing is, you may be looking along the leading edge of that shelf cloud, because I would guess that there is absolutely a pretty mean-looking shelf cloud coming into the Marshfield area from the southwest. Looks like we've probably got some 50-plus mile-per-hour winds coming up I-44 toward the Marshfield area. The circulation is actually located further north, a little north of Highway 38, southeast of Conklin, to the west-southwest of Dermott. And again, these circulations or these storms today are tracking north-northeast. So it looks like that storm will remain to the northwest of the Marshfield area, but residents up towards, say, east of Conklin or between Conklin and Dermott, up toward Beach, Fortner's Hill, up toward Thorpe, Elkland. These are all communities kind of in the vicinity of where that particular circulation with that tornado-warned storm in northern Webster County will be going here shortly. But as I mentioned, you could see that shot right there.
Yeah,
it looks pretty ominous. We are kind of looking, I think, with that camera, we're looking down the length of the shelf cloud. And in the far distance is where the circulation would be. So, Matt, you may be onto something in terms of maybe that's a wall cloud off in the distance.
Yeah.
In the foreground, that dark spot, that is the shelf cloud.
Yeah.
That is going to continue to press
It's that
northeast up
leading
toward
edge
Marshfield.
of thunderstorms that's starting to move back in. Jamie, I want to give an update. Spotters in Sparta. So Sparta was the area that had that confirmed tornado that moved in. They're reporting limbs that are being down, roofing material that's being scattered as well. I mean, my heart goes out to anyone that just got their roof repaired from all the hail damage, and tornado just went through, and you got to do the whole process over again. I do want to provide some all clears. I know we've been up for over the last hour or so, and we're going to continue to stay with this until I can feel confident that we're not going to have any tornado threat. I'm going to provide all clears. I'm going to provide a broader view on the update. Then I'll go to power outages, and then Jamie, you can kind of give an update on what you're seeing tornado-wise. But that tornado threat in Springfield has ended. Rain has ended in Springfield. We even saw a rainbow in Springfield
I saw it
a
coming
couple
in,
minutes
Matt.
ago.
I saw it coming in down 60. Yeah.
If you're watching from Springfield and you're scared, you're good for tonight. That threat has ended in Springfield. The worst is what you saw about an hour ago. The worst is when those sirens were going off. No concern of anything going back into Springfield. Even in Nixa, you're good. In Ozark, the worst of this is starting to move out of your area and to the west of Highway 65. If you're west of Highway 65, if you're watching from Monette, Joplin, Stockton, Wablo, wherever, your threat has also ended as well. It's this line of thunderstorms. We still have to get them. They're moving to the east, and as they move to the east, they're still going to have that threat of a tornado. We have one confirmed tornado, another tornado warning. Let's give a quick update on power outages, and I'll go to the 3x3 for that. Actually, was that a new tornado warning? Or they just took off the confirmed on that tornado warning? I believe that was the update.
I don't see a new tornado warning coming in.
Jesse, if you actually, Jesse is starting to get geared up. He'll go to power outages for us in just a minute. Let's talk about this new tornado warning because the National Weather Service has removed the confirmed tag off of this. Excuse me. National Weather Service has removed the confirmed tag off of this tornado. Still has possibilities of tightening up. It's not at the point where I want to send people back at all because we're still seeing some areas of velocity tightening back up. Christian County, south of Sparta, is still another area that I think that
And
may
Matt,
try
if
to
you
produce a
brought out
tornado.
your view, I think you were kind of hitting on that one circulation that's showing up southwest. Of
Yeah,
Sparta.
let me go to velocity for you.
That's not tornado warned, but there are 3 different areas that we're watching closely. One to the northwest of Marshfield. That's the one where.
Yeah, let's go top down. Let's go top down, Jamie. We'll start with the
one northwest of Marshfield.
So this is the first one.
And that is, you can see it there located, that is to the north of Highway 38. Looks like that circulation is between Conklin and Dermott, moving north-northeast, generally in the direction of Beach. Again,
the second one.
The second one further south, that's the one where they removed the confirmed wording. And I'm guessing, Matt, because you've been watching this more closely than I have. But I'm guessing that all of the confirmed tornadoes that we've had have been radar confirmed, correct? These have all been debris signatures on radar.
The first one in Springfield was observed. The other 2 were radar confirmed with a debris ball. This is still showing good rotation, just not as tight.
And that
this
rotation,
third one, Jamie, I think is very interesting because this is not tornado warned. We are watching this. If this continues to tighten, if this continues to show what it is, I think we may get a third tornado warning.
Yeah, well, the signature on radar is kind of messy in that area. That is to the west of Highway 125 to the south-southwest of Sparta. It looks like it's kind of more in the general field of the storm as opposed to like near what we would be looking for, like a hook
not
echo.
on that leading edge.
Yeah. But the circulation that you were pointing out to the north, that is near U Highway, very close to Anchor Hills. Looks like that circulation, roughly in the vicinity of Anchor Hills and Zinner, heading north-northeast toward Highway 60. That should stay east of Rogersville. But residents south of Fordland down toward Anchor Hills, that's going to be the general path that circulation is going to continue to stay on. As
You're mentioning Anchor Hills right now. I think Fordland is another area. You mentioned that as well. So it's going to be close to Rogersville, but it continues to want to be just to the east of it. If you're in Rogersville, I would not be sitting on the front porch. I would be getting into shelter at this time. That's too close to.
And I'm sure it's pouring down rain in Rogersville. That's the other thing these storms have been able to do is produce just blinding rainfall along with the lightning.
I want to go to Jesse Inman real quick. I think he's got an update on power outages for us.
I do. And I actually just spoke with a contact I have with the Sparta Police Department on what they've been seeing out there. Officer Shane Duryea telling me that they definitely have what he believes was evidence of a very strong storm hitting that area. East of Sparta, especially off of Jenkins Road and 125. He said they have several reports of trees down in that area. He says the county is out trying to deal with that right now. And when I say the county, I mean Christian County in that area. Officer Duryea telling me that any driving out east right now of Sparta, really anywhere in that area, is a very poor idea. Lots of trees down in the roadway in that area. They're working on trying to get some of those cleared up. He said he was down in that area himself, seeing a lot of tree damage out there. And that's pretty consistent probably with what we're seeing right now. Keep this up for me here, guys. This in Christian County, a look at power outages. The top number here you're seeing 809 would be in Christian County. So, and that would be, I mean, Sparta is in that area where those reports just came in from officers there in that area. Before I throw it back to you guys, I do want to say I'm going to give a call to the Christian County Sheriff's Office, because that's who I was told was kind of working on some of these things. And folks, if you're familiar with Sparta, you know, not the biggest town in our viewing area out there, so only a handful of officers trying to do what they can to make sure roads are open and safe for folks. But Jamie, I know you're at the wall now. I can kick it back over to you if you've got some new information for us. I know you've got a lot on your plate right now with several things you're looking at.
There's nothing new. We were just kind of getting information now that's just, it's kind of like after the storm has already moved through the Sparta area, similar to what you've already reported. Emergency services, they're also reporting in Sparta significant flash flooding within the city limits. So we've got some street flooding going on in the Sparta area. That's along Highway 14 and Division Street, east of Highway 125. So, you know, we've had the tornado risk come through that area. We've had very heavy rainfall. And now we've got some reports of potential flash flooding, which can also be very, very dangerous. And all the more reason that, you know, if you live in and around the Sparta area, just go ahead and stay home. Even though that storm threat has moved on, just stay indoors, let all of this kind of fully move out, and maybe let some of these water levels that have built up, at least on area streets, let those water levels come down. You know, on radar right now, Matt's been kind of hitting on two storms, and I've gone with a little bit of a broader view here. I'm hoping that I can pull up some of this information right here. There's three different areas that we're watching. One is here northwest of Marshfield. We've got another circulation that is showing up near the Anchor Hills area southeast of Rogersville. And then there's this other little circulation. Now that's embedded within the thunderstorm activity. So I don't know if we have to be overly concerned with that. And it's not tornado warned, but there is a circulation there that is showing up on radar right now. So we've got three different pockets that we're kind of keying in on. Two of those pockets are currently tornado warned. One northwest of Marshfield, again, the other one east or southeast of Rogersville, and then that other little pocket that is located to the northwest of Garrison. Looks like that'd be pretty close to Highway 125 at this time. The northern warning, this is what we're looking at right now. It's, you know, as these storms move, they will evolve in time. And, you know, you look at this and you don't see, you know, just right out of the gate, you don't see this hook echo that you would kind of focus in on. But there we go. We can reveal to you there east of Elkland. Here you have Highway 38 right here's Charity, Elkland, Marshfield. This is the circulation that we're watching right there. And there's some pretty strong outbound winds coupled with these inbound winds. So this is the spot that we're watching, and that is tracking roughly toward the north-northeast. Again, as Matt said earlier, the movement is not terribly fast. So what I'm going to do is kind of back this up just so you can see that circulation here over the last few frames as it continues to kind of parallel I-44. It is well located just to the west of I-44. And Matt, if you can, go ahead, let's see if we can get that tower cam back up so we can take a look at what this looks like now that the storm has moved into the Marshfield area, and see if we're just looking at, I mean, just probably dark skies and heavy rainfall coming down. This is the circulation though. And just looking at the last few scans on radar, it looks like that circulation has indeed kind of tightened back up. So the tornado warning is likely going to remain in effect with that particular storm as it continues to track toward the north-northeast. Looks like that's going to be heading roughly in the direction of southeastern Dallas County. So, you know, southeastern Dallas is technically tornado warned. Southwestern Laclede County not currently under a tornado warning, but all of this is going to be moving in that general direction. So a heads up for our friends in Conway and Phillipsburg, up I-44. This area of severe weather, which will include very heavy rainfall, lightning, and gusty winds, along with that tornado threat, will be headed across southeast Dallas and then southwestern Laclede County.
Jamie, you mentioned that camera shot. We have that over at the 3x3. This is I-44, Highway 38. We've been watching this camera for, the last 15, 20 minutes. We've seen it progress where really there was no rain. We saw the dark clouds. We saw the shelf clouds. And here's the setup right now. Another factor is, Jesse, we're starting to run out of daylight. It's 8:20 right now. Sun's going to be setting soon, and that adds to the danger of these storms because you already can't see much with it getting darker, and with the rain. The sun goes down, your ability to see anything is going to be completely removed. So we're going to decrease our visibilities with spotters are in the area. They're having a hard time chasing anything at this moment right now. just those dark skies
And
and heavy rain.
Matt, to your point, what I want to mention is that circulation that I can see on radar, it's fully embedded within that rain.
Yeah.
So if there is a tornado on the ground, it is going to be rain wrapped. Folks are not going to be able to see it.
What Jamie means by that is you're not going to see it until you see leaves getting picked up by trees, branches getting thrown. You're not going to see it until you see the damages from it, and that's going to be right on top of you, Jesse.
A vantage point for where this camera is for folks who just want to get their bearings about them. This is pointed west on I-44. What you're seeing, those lights on the right side, that's actually the Don Vance Ford dealership there on your right side. A lot of the restaurants and businesses would be, I guess, to the left of this camera here. So a lot of rain with this one, guys, as you said. But Jamie, the circulation you're watching is a bit to the north of where this is.
It is, and keep in mind, when we look at that, it looks like it may be dark already, but it's not. I mean, we're coming, I think we're right around sunset right now. So typically you got about another 30 minutes of daylight before it is dark out there. But in that shot, I mean, it looks like it's already nighttime. You can already see all of the street lights showing up, headlamps also showing up on the cars that are on the interstate right now. That circulation on radar, if we take a look, you can see it's very close to beach. So this is the circulation. I did get a new scan in on an off-camera radar. That circulation is now located roughly right in here, just to the northeast of beach, and it's going to continue to track roughly like that. Looks like maybe toward the Fortner's Hill area, Hanley. The tornado warning is getting gradually trimmed back. I take the scope off, and you can see that for our friends that are watching in the Marshfield area, you are now
They can
no
confirm
longer.
that, Jamie.
Yeah,
Jamie, look at the one to the south.
We've got a confirmed,
That is confirmed
tornado now. That is for the Fordland area. So for the storm that we've been tracking that was southeast of Rogersville, that is now a confirmed tornado once again. Or I think that was already confirmed at one time, and it looks like it is confirmed
It has
again.
been reconfirmed.
This is so here's Rogersville. This is Highway 60, Fordland. There it is. That's the circulation. I'm going to go to a different radar view.
Switch it over to debris. That's the reason why they confirmed it. It is just to the southeast of Rogersville, getting reports of structural damage all across Sparta. This was the system that produced that confirmed tornado over Sparta, lifted, and now it's dropping back down. I want to be clear about the damage that it has produced, 15, 20 minutes ago when it was on top of Sparta. We're hearing from emergency services in the area. They're confirming of a camper that's been blown over, a roof that's been missing, a roof collapse, multiple homes with damages. Multiple homes with damage in the Sparta area. So this is where that system was previously confirmed.
Matt, you're mentioning this is definitely radar confirmed.
Yes.
That circulation is to the south of Highway 60. So the image that I'm showing right now, so here's Highway 60. That little spot right there, you have the sea of red, that little spot right there, that is the debris signature as it was beginning. I've got a newer image that does show, it does show a debris signature.
Yeah.
And that is to the west-northwest of Zinner and west of U Highway. That is located about, I'd put it maybe a little over a mile to the west of U Highway, or about, it's about a mile and a half to the south of Highway 60, roughly about a mile and a third to the west-northwest of Zinner. So when we say debris signature, what's going on, and I'm hoping we'll get a new scan here and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. The radar is sensing objects of different size. So if we can correlate that also with a velocity signature, that tells us that there's probably a tornado that has touched down, it has caused some kind of damage, and that debris has been flung up into the air. And then the radar is sensing leaves and twigs and objects of different size, and you get this hole in your radar image, and usually it will be a sea of red. You get this hole that indicates that is where the debris signature is showing up. Just got a new scan, and that debris signature has vanished.
Yeah, that was there just for just a couple minutes.
Yeah,
just a couple minutes, but it's enough that that tornado was on the ground. That tornado was lifting up debris.
It probably was on the ground very close to Liberty Road, which runs west out of Zinner. Liberty Road, just kind of looking here. So Anchor Hill Road kind of connects with Liberty Road, probably in the vicinity. This is to the southeast of Rogersville. There's a community there, Anchor Hills. It's a subdivision that was put in, I think, here over the last 10, 15 years. Roughly in the vicinity of Liberty Hill Road, or Liberty Road and Anchor Hill Road, Looks like that at that intersection is roughly where that debris signature started, and has since vanished as that circulation has moved on to the north. So I'm going to go back to our wind field. Let's take a look at that, see what that looks like. And looking at that, you can see very clearly just to the west
Still
of
there.
Zinner, it's still there.
Still as strong as ever, too.
Yeah, you've still got a pretty good couplet right here. So this is 60 Highway. There's the circulation, and it is continued to track generally north-northeast. And you know, it's something, Matt, what have the speeds been on these warnings, roughly?
Are you wanting the one on the south?
Just generally the speeds on these
They've
storms.
been going about 30, and they got the one in the southern tornado warning at 15 miles per hour, Jamie. And
Okay.
it kind of surges where it will pick up speed and then it will stall and creep
Yeah.
and crawl. So they have it at kind of that crawling pace right now.
Well, and right now, and I'm gonna swap out views over here. It looks like that circulation is now on top of Highway 60. So I mean, this is a dangerous time for motorists that might be traveling back between Rogersville and Fordland there along Highway 60. That circulation is now on top of Highway 60, and this has very likely been producing at least one tornado here recently over the last 15 minutes or so when it was located west of Zinner. And now that the circulation is now along Highway 60, I don't see the debris signature anymore, but the circulation is there. So we could see something try to touch down once again. So again, folks that live between Rogersville and Fordland, you're under the gun right now for a possible tornado. That is roughly, if I had to kind of put the mileage on this, that is roughly southwest of Fordland by about a little over 3.5 miles. So looks like that circulation is probably going to stay just west and northwest of Fordland, but it's going to be a close call. So if you live in Fordland, or particularly west of Fordland, maybe a few miles to the west of Fordland, please be in your tornado safe spaces. This tornado risk will be moving through your area over the next, say, 15 minutes or so. As Matt said,
And Jamie, that's going to be on the side of Fordland that is kind of where the high school is. So that west side of Fordland, on the side where the high school is, that's the area that I think everyone in Fordland needs to be in shelter, but especially the west side of town, if you're closer to the high school, that's the area that it's really going to impact. Jamie, taking one step back, you can see that tornado warning now pretty much for everyone in Webster County. If you're in Webster County, congratulations, you're in a tornado warning.
Yeah,
really, the only exception is Seymour.
So Marshfield, you guys were under a tornado warning. This is for the storm to the south. So one storm has moved to your north. You've now gone under a new tornado warning for the storm to your south. It's currently located here along Highway 60, tracking roughly north-northeast. And if this one continues on the path that it looks like it's going, if that storm maintains itself, let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and loop this. And we can see that circulation right there. You can see how that circulation is kind of tracking roughly like this. If that circulation holds, it is heading in the general direction of Marshfield. So if you live in and around Marshfield, you've been under one tornado warning. That tornado warned storm has now moved to your north. This is a different storm that is moving in from the south that is currently located east of Rogersville on Highway 60. It will be tracking just west of Fordland, it looks like, and it looks like a beeline toward the Marshfield area. I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and let's track that out. That circulation, and Matt, you said 15 mile per hour forward movement?
They bumped it up to 20, but it's
20?
It really, it's kind of been balancing between 15 and 30 throughout today. So
okay,
they're going in between on this one.
So if we're going with about a 20 mile per hour forward movement, so circulation near Highway 60, this is the ground that it's going to cover over the next 30 minutes. So it looks like it would probably be 30 to 45 minutes from now before this circulation would get into the Marshfield area. But this storm is heading roughly in that direction. Now, that is not the only system that we're watching. We've got another system also to the north. This is now in northernmost Webster County. It's just south of the county line, it looks like. I'm going to go to a different radar view because I want to make sure that I've got the most up-to-date information. So just west of Fortner's Hill is where this is very close to WW Highway. Very close to that location is where roughly right in here, that's where the circulation is. And it is now about to track into southeastern Dallas County. It's still south of M Highway. Looks like maybe we got a new tornado warning.
Whew, that's a big one, too.
Very, very broad
Yeah,
tornado
that's a big
warning
one.
just issued. This does include the Lebanon area, Phillipsburg, Conway, Eldridge. And I think what they're doing is they're also trying to encompass, so here's the circulation. This is the tornadic circulation. And then we've got this surge of wind right here. So I think because, and you can see how boxy this thing is, how wide it is. So, and you may be wondering, well, why is it, circulation's over here? Why do we have a tornado warning that goes all the way to Grove Spring? I think what they're doing is they're trying to watch for little circulations to try to develop within maybe that leading edge of wind energy that is making its way north across Webster County. That would be my guess. Further south, you can see the other circulation that is near Highway 60.
And then, Jamie, a very quick, this is something I don't expect a tornado warning to be issued within the next 10 minutes, but I am seeing some signs once we get out of Christian County and into Douglas. There is some signs of some rotation. There was nothing here. Now we're starting to see, this is very early, so not expecting a tornado warning on this soon, but this is the area I'm going to be trying to keep an eye out for the next 10, 15 minutes. If this grows as it gets into Douglas.
You're talking about an area just to the east of Highway 125.
Yep.
West-southwest of Merritt.
I don't think that warrants a tornado warning at this time, but that's the first sign of rotation in a new location. So I know people kind of closer to the state line, it's been quiet for you. You could see some warnings happening there. So that's what I'm going to continue to track while we have, 1, 2, 3 tornado warnings issued just north of that.
Yeah, and currently, out of all the circulations that we're looking at, there's 2 of them that are currently tornado warned. There's the one that is now on the county line here, now crossing over into southeastern Dallas County. And then we have the other circulation that is now just north of Highway 60 east of Rogersville. Both of those circulations, again, tornado warned. The one southwest of Fordland looks like, and Matt, you could take a look too, the one southwest of Fordland looks like it has tightened up.
Yeah.
The circulation
I'm gonna check for debris.
yeah, I would look for a debris signature on that, but it looks like it has indeed tightened up. That circulation is, just looking at some of the roads in the area, that looks to be very close to Dutch Creek Road, Portner Crossing Road, Dutch Hill Road. These are some roads that are located north of Highway 60 in the vicinity of where, if we've got a tornado trying to develop, it's going to be in that vicinity. PP Highway is located just to the north of where the circulation is. Again, I want to stress for Fordland residents, it looks like the circulation, I think the tornadic portion of this storm looks like it will stay just to your west by a few miles. But it will be a close call. You are tornado warned. Remain in your tornado safe space. Go ahead and play it safe. But it looks like the worst of this may stay just to your west. Again, it's located south. The circulation is located south of PP Highway, or between PP Highway and Highway 60, and it is moving north-northeast at roughly 15 to 20 miles per hour. So, there are two circulations that we're most concerned about. This circulation, again, to the west of Fordland, and then the other circulation that is located just north now of the county line. This is in southeastern Dallas County. You can see near Hanley. So this is the circulation. This is what's been tracking across Webster County. It's now into southeastern Dallas County. It's this area right in here. This is what we're looking at. So this is roughly between Hanley and Fortner's Hill, and it will continue to track roughly north-northeast. So residents up toward Ernestville, looks like the circulation will be tracking roughly in your direction. And Matt, I know you mentioned the storm to the south. Is this more northerly circulation moving also about 15 to 20 miles per hour?
The northest, so if you're talking about that very large tornado warning that's going across Leclerc County, they have that at 35. So they have that that's the fastest one and still pretty slow.
So this is going to be, so here's Lebanon. So at 35 miles per hour, that's going to bring it across Ernestville in under 10 minutes, and then across Highway 32 in about 15 minutes, and then it will bring it up to about Highway 64 in roughly 30 minutes. And I think that circulation probably stays just a little west of Lebanon. But guys, in the Lebanon area up towards Sleeper, you guys are under this tornado warning as well. So again, you need to just take the precautions necessary for a possible tornado. I'm just trying to track out where the circulation currently is showing up on radar and the ground that it would likely cover over the next 30 minutes. Matt, as I've been talking, is there any,
Yeah.
have you seen any like camera shots in that vicinity that?
I know we have that camera on I-44 and Marshfield, so we
I
can go
can
to that in a
see- yeah,
second.
I can see
have
that.
been, Jamie, keeping an eye. I've been watching this debris tracker like a hawk, and I'm not seeing anything that screams confirmed tornado, not seeing anything that's lofting debris up high enough. So
This is with the storm near Fordland, west of Fordland?
any
of them?
Any.
Yeah.
So I've been scanning up and down. This is what I'm almost waiting for because we've seen 3, 4 confirmed tornadoes tonight. So I'm almost expecting the worst case scenario of something to develop. We do have a camera on I-44 close to Marshfield. If we can try to go back to that, and we're starting to see things get darker. That's what we've mentioned. The sun is setting probably right about now, and rain is mixed up in all of this mess.
You know, in and around Marshfield right now, it's really just heavy rainfall. I mean, that presents its own problem for folks that are traveling in that area. But right now, it's just heavy rain. And Matt, I can tell you with the tornado warned storm that came into the south side of Springfield, the southwest side of Springfield, I live roughly a mile to 2 miles east of where that circulation went through, and it was heavy rain and light wind. You wouldn't have even known. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what we saw with that circulation. I think probably the worst of that was maybe just south of the city limits. I think that's probably when the circulation tightened up most, but we'll get more information on that later. Right now, again, we're still tracking 2 areas of concern. There are other areas, but 2 tornado-warned areas of concern. One is in southeast Dallas County. The other one is in southwestern Webster County, just a little north of Highway 60. And I think just taking a quick peek at radar, I think this is probably the strongest circulation at this time to the west of Fordland. That is located north of Highway 60. That circulation looks like it should be crossing PP Highway maybe over the next 5 to 10 minutes. It's still a little south of PP Highway. It still looks like it will remain to the west of Fordland. Good news there. I do think that in the Fordland area, you can see this area of red, and we're on our traffic cam shot right now. If we can go back to radar, we can see that in the Fordland area, we right now are probably just looking at some light winds, but there is a surge of wind that's coming in out of the southwest that will likely produce some gusty winds in and around Fordland. The tornadic portion of this storm, the part that we're most concerned about, though, should stay just west of Fordland. So this is that wind that I was talking about right there. So this is going to come in. I'm sure if you're watching from Fordland, if you're taking a peek out the window, you probably see a shelf cloud approaching your area. The tornado threat is actually further west by about several miles, and it looks like that will indeed stay just to the west and northwest of Fordland as it continues north across Webster County. Further south, Matt's been really kind of watching this area too. You can see the blue colors right here, which indicate very strong winds moving in toward the radar site. And then we've got roughly some lighter outbound winds right here. So there's hints of a circulation possibly right in there.
That's progressing in a good way, Jamie, because I mentioned that very early on. I was saying, hey, this could be another tornado warning. In the last 10 to 15 minutes, that's progressing in a way where I'm not as intimidated as what I was 10 to 15 minutes ago. I do want to say, if you're watching from Rogersville, getting close to where I can issue an all clear for that. So it looks like the worst of that storm is moving past Rogersville. It's starting to move north of Highway 60. So I know people in Rogersville you guys been in shelter for a while. Continue to say that, especially true in Fordland. Not ready to issue an all clear, but things are starting to progress in a better manner. These storms are just moving so slow, Jamie. And one of the side effects of that is, of course, we have these tornado threats and we have these thunderstorms that linger forever, but flash flood warnings are in effect. And I haven't even looked at the rain totals in a while because we've been so focused on the tornado threat.
Well, what I'll do is I can pull that up. Yeah, you've got it already. Go ahead and talk about what you see there with the rainfall. As you mentioned, there are flash flood warnings in effect for parts of Greene County.
Yeah, I know in Willard, if you zoom in here, our radar is estimating maybe 5 inches of rain for the Willard area. For Bodark, 4 inches of rain. For Halltown, 3 to 4 inches of rain. For Springfield, it's saying only 2. And I'm curious, here at the station, we got 1.5, so that's pretty on par. We are on the east side of Springfield. Flash flood warnings where Ozark picked up about 3 to 4 inches of rain as well. So, of course, the main threat with this system is the tornado threat. That's the main thing that we're concerned about. But as soon as we wrap up these tornado warnings, it just transitions to the flash flood issues. I imagine we're going to see road closures, may see some bridge swept away. We've seen water running high in Howell County. That's another area that has been impacted with flash flood warnings. So the tornado threat, of course, is the immediate threat. It's the main threat. It's not the only threat, where we have a whole lot of rain getting dumped on top of these locations as well, Jamie.
And just kind of looking at how things have evolved over the last couple of hours, you know, we had these individual cells that were trackable. Now we've got more of a line. We've got an area that the portion of the line that we've been concerned about has been what's moving across southeast Dallas, now getting to southwestern Laclede County, and also what's now moving across Webster County once again. But it's a line. So these storms are now embedded within a line of storms, and I think that, you know, that's what we're going to continue to track, I think, northeast over the next hour or so. I think the tornado watch runs through 9 o'clock this evening, correct?
The tornado watch, I believe, got extended till 10.
So it got extended even further.
It was supposed to expire at 7. They pushed that back to 9. I think they're going to try to push it back to 10, and who knows if that's going to get pushed back one step further. The tornado watch is really for the counties to the east of Highway 65, not for everyone.
Yeah, so you can see here's looking at Highway 65 right there. Notice how things clear out. I mean, coming in earlier, the sun was out here in Springfield. This is before sunset, but the sun was out here in Springfield. You could see a rainbow. The severe weather threat looks like it has ended across southwest Missouri and northwest Arkansas. It's east of Highway 65 now, and I would guess that it's probably more east of Highway 65 and from about Douglas County north. So it's going to be this quadrant right in here that probably will remain under that severe weather risk for the next hour or so. As Matt mentioned, it looks like maybe that tornado watch has been extended to 10 o'clock. The two circulations that have been of concern remain. This is going to be in, again, southeastern Dallas County. In fact, I'll go ahead and kind of focus in on that, and we'll put our scope on it. So you look at this and you're like, well, where's the hook echo? Well, the tornadic portion of this, the part that we're concerned about, is actually located just to the west and northwest of the Conway area. So here's Conway, Phillipsburg. This is where the circulation is showing up right now. So if there were anything there, this is going to be rain wrapped. So I'll put the scope on, and you can see this is the area of concern right in here. And it's actually, it looks like that circulation has weakened and kind of broadened out. So hopefully that is a trend that continues, because if that does, then maybe we'll see this tornado threat come to an end faster than earlier worried about.
Jamie, let's go to our camera in Conway, because this is the area you're talking about. Hey, we have that rotation.
Heavy rain.
We have heavy rain. We have lightning strikes. This is on I-44.
Yeah.
Mile marker 113, Jesse.
It is, yeah. This is Conway 44, just like you said, near Route J and Y. And you, in the last few seconds here, you've seen a lot of vehicles, all of them with their hazards on in this area, going both east and west, and a lot of lightning. You've got a semi over to the outer road here that's stalled out, just kind of waiting for this to pass. Another one coming up the exit ramp here. So this being kind of the center of where you guys are watching all of that currently in that area. I do have a couple of reports I want to pass along to you that I've gotten in the last half hour or so from a storm that we had earlier. And really a lot of that area south still under the gun between Rogersville and Fordland. Jamie and Matt, I know you guys are watching that. Right now, I spoke with Webster County Sheriff Roy Cole. He says nothing yet as far as damage or injuries. They are waiting for things to potentially come in that area. Chief Richard Sturtz, the Logan Rogersville Fire Chief, said, I mean, just a lot of heavy rain. I talked to him when he was on U Highway. He's saying there is damage south of where he is. That technically would be in the Christian County area. So put a call in to Fire Chief Brian Lula in Sparta.
Hey, Jesse, can I stop you? Because a new tornado warning was just issued. That is for eastern Christian County into northwestern Douglas County. I was just looking at this, and so they've pulled the trigger on this. This is just to the northwest.
That's the area we gave an early warning about. Jamie, that's northeast at 35.
Yeah, so this is what it looks like right now. And actually, that actually looks fairly intense. So here's Old Merritt. This is the circulation that is currently warned. So that looks to be right on the county line. And I'm going to go ahead and take that scope off. You can see that little hook echo right there. That is, the circulation appears to be, again, very close to the county line. Looks like it may be very close to T Highway. There's another road in the vicinity, County Road UU 561. that is in the vicinity of where that circulation is. That is westernmost Douglas County. That is to the west of Red Bank, west of Ava. Matt mentioned that circulation is moving northeast at 35 miles per hour.
That's one of the quicker ones.
Yeah, it is one of the quicker ones, so let's track that. That will be moving roughly like this. And you can see that's going to, if the circulation remains where it is, it looks like it's going to stay just to the northwest of Ava. Should be pretty close to Arden in about 15 minutes. And then it would be very close to the county line. This would be Webster and Douglas County. Be very close to the Webster-Douglas County line in about 20 minutes or so. It should be very close to Highway 14 in about 15 minutes. Currently, it is over a very rural part of western Douglas County. Looks like, again, it's just inside of the county line in Douglas County, very close to T Highway, moving north-northeast at 35 miles per hour. Some towns that would be roughly in the path of that. It looks like, I think that circulation is going to stay east of Ongo, probably just to the west of Arden. But that area between Ongo and Arden, if you live in that area, please get into your tornado safe space. This is where the tornado threat is going to be moving through. Looks like it will make its way up toward Dogwood and Tigris, and all of that's going to happen here in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So western Douglas County, this is, again, where the tornado threat has really kind of ramped up with a new circulation that we're now tracking in eastern Christian County into western Douglas County, tracking north-northeast at 35 miles per hour. I'm going to go ahead and let's take a look again at that circulation. We're going to zoom right on in, and I'm going to swap out views here with our wind data, see what that looks like, because I'm curious. I mean, you can see that circulation. That's pretty. Here's State Highway T right there. So in this frame, it's right on top of T Highway. Very strong circulation showing up right here along T Highway in westernmost Douglas County. And what I'm going to do is take a look and see if we see any sign of a debris signature. At this point, at least in the image that I've got right here, I don't. Matt, if you've got a more current radar image,
Yeah, let me look.
take a peek.
Far too messy for me to say confirmed. Far too messy. So, and that's what it's been in the last couple scans. Far too messy for anything.
Yeah.
This is the third tornado warning, Jamie. I don't want to lose sight of this. It looks like the northernmost tornado warning. So the warning that's going into Laclede County. Fast winds with that, but I'm not seeing anything tornadic with that. So I think we're going to focus a little bit more on the tornado warning that just popped up in Merritt,
So we're in
Western Douglas
County.
County, and also the tornado that is still along Highway 60. Those are the two strongest right now. So if you are watching Laclede County, we're not going to focus on it as much, but it's for a good reason. The rotation's getting very broad there. I think the two tornado warnings to the south are a little bit more serious of a threat at this time.
Yeah, and it looks like that, just kind of zooming in on that circulation here in western Douglas County, as it continues to track north-northeast, it is now northeast of T Highway, just trying to get some roads in the vicinity of where that circulation would be. Again, this is a very rural part of western Douglas County. It looks like it would be approaching County Road UU 546, I would guess over the next 5 minutes or so. It looks like the circulation also will remain just to the east of UU Highway. And that will keep it east of Ongo, that area between Ongo and Arden. And you can see that right there. So here's our circulation. Here's Ongo and Arden. It's that area in between. So it's right through this corridor that we expect this circulation to continue to track. This is Highway 14. North of that circulation, I would put that at about, let's see here, I'll go ahead and I'm looking at a different radar view here off camera. That circulation looks to be about 6 miles to the south of Highway 14. Again, it's tracking a little faster than some of the other storms. Looks like it's moving north-northeast at about 35 miles per hour. Going back to our radar view, this is what it looks like. And there's that hook echo. I mean, some of the other storms got real messy, but this one you can see here south of Ongo, that's the hook right here. So, your winds are kind of flowing into the storm right there. And right here, this is what we're concerned about. This is where we could be looking at a developing tornado just to the south of Ongo, tracking north-northeast. So it looks like that circulation will probably move not too far to the east of Ongo in western Douglas County. So if you are watching from particularly areas west of Ava, northwestern Douglas County, anywhere from Ongo north up toward Highway 14. Here over the next 5 to 15 minutes, there is going to be a tornado threat with this particular thunderstorm in this line. It's embedded in the line as it tracks off to the north-northeast. Now, I don't want to lose sight of what's going on in the Fordland area. This is what that looks like at this time. And as we kind of scope out that, this has gotten very messy looking. I'll loop that. You can see the circulation showing up, and it looks like you've got one circulation that kind of tracks west of Fordland. There may be hints of another circulation, possibly right in here just to the east of Fordland, just north of Highway 60, but it looks like that tornado threat is now getting past the Fordland area. The other area of concern has been up toward southwestern Laclede County. This is getting into the Phillipsburg area. And, Matt was mentioning that it looked like that circulation had it looks like it's kind of broadened out. It's really kind of lost its punch. You can see these are strong winds kind of coming out away from our radar here in Springfield across southwestern Laclede County. This is going to continue to spread northeast up toward the Lebanon area. But you really don't see a tight circulation here near I-44. I do see a tight circulation, though, in western Douglas County.
Yeah, go back to Ongo, because that is getting tight, Jamie. I'm going to keep up debris just in case if anything forms, so that's what I'm going to keep an eye on. There's been bad data. It's really hard to tell if this is lofting up debris or not. I haven't gotten a good, clean scan in a while.
Yeah, and that's, that circulation's not very far from Ongo right now. It looks like if I had to draw, it may be a couple of miles to the southeast of Ongo. It's tracking north-northeast. I do think that it will remain just to the east. So here's Ongo. This is not the most current scan. The most current scan shows that circulation located right about in here, roughly a little southeast by maybe a mile to 2 miles of Ongo, and it should stay just to the east of Ongo. Areas further east toward Arden, I would say this is the area that I would worry about a potential tornado here between Ongo and Arden as that storm tracks off toward the north-northeast. I wish we had some cameras in that area just to see what this looks like, because we have seen the circulation tighten up with time since that tornado warning was issued. And I mean, we've seen other circulations this afternoon and this evening that didn't look this strong, that still produced debris signatures on radar, indicating that a tornado probably touched down. Matt's been looking at that to see if we are, if we're looking at anything trying to touch down there southeast of Ongo. But again, for our folks that are watching between Ongo and Arden in western Douglas County, please be in your tornado safe space. These would be areas maybe near AK Highway, west of O Highway. You could see Highway 14 off to the north, and I'll go ahead and take that scope off. Off to the north, there's Highway 14. It looks like that circulation is located roughly, kind of draw this out. Looks like it's located roughly about 4.5 miles to the south of Highway 14. Again, moving north-northeast at about 35 miles per hour. So again, this currently is a radar indicated tornado, but the circulation is stronger than some of the storms that probably did produce weak tornadoes. And I'm watching some of these traffic cam shots. Matt, what is the one that we've got here up right now?
Yeah, I can tell you, Jamie, what you're looking at right here is Conway and I-44 at mile marker 113. This is going to be near Route J and Route Y. And I'm sure, Jamie, you've been seeing out of the corner of your eye just an absolute lightning show going on in this area. You can tell that it's just been lighting up the horizon there. Traffic in both directions, hazards flashing. Semis and cars have been pulling off to the side, kind of waiting out the heaviness of the rain as well, Jamie.
And, just taking a look at some of the reports coming in, this is out of Dallas County, reporting a little bit of debris and flooding in the roadway at State Highway 73 and State Highway 64. That would be in the vicinity of one of the tornado warned storms that we've already had. Not to say that the debris would be caused by a tornado. It could just be strong winds. There were some strong winds that were kind of moving across that area with the line. And you can see the frequent lightning flashes there in the Conway area. That's, again, up in Laclede County. That circulation, I mean, we're still tracking it. It just doesn't look near as impressive as it did. We kind of focused our attention further south. with that particular storm in northwestern Douglas County, waiting on a new scan to come in. This is a little bit old, and I'm going to go back to our off-camera radar view. It still appears that we've got a pretty healthy circulation just to the southeast of Ongo. That is about, I would say, maybe about 2.5 miles southeast of Ongo, or about a little over 3 miles to the west-southwest of Arden, or about looks like maybe close to 5 miles to the south-southwest of Dogwood. Again, that possible tornado, and again, it looks like they've confirmed it. So it looks like we now have a confirmed tornado in western Douglas County. Again, all the more reason, folks, you need to take this particular thunderstorm here in western Douglas County very seriously. If you live in and around western Douglas County, there is a tornado warned storm that has now been confirmed. And that circulation, just kind of zooming in on some of the roads, that tornado would be located near County Road 542 and County Road 546. So folks that are in that vicinity, County Road 542 and County Road 546, this is near Breeden Church. That is very close to where what appears to be now a tornado on the ground.
Yeah, you can see that debris, Jamie.
We've got a debris signature. I'm going to go ahead and swap out. Let's.
It's a little messy on radar data, but you can start to see that debris signature. It is just to the east of Ongo.
Okay, and actually, I think our
Ongo, rather.
Yeah, I think
Yep,
our
there it is.
radar's doing a nice job of showing that. So this looks to be a pretty updated image. This is what we're looking at. So here's Ongo. You can see Arden located off to the east. This is where roughly the tornado is. What we're looking at right now, folks, we're actually looking at debris being sensed by radar. Looks like a tornado has indeed touched down southeast of Ongo, and it is tracking north-northeast. I mentioned earlier that it is in the vicinity of Breeden Church. Looking at some roads in that area, it's still, again, very close to County Road 546 and County Road 542. County Road 546 and UU 545, they intersect very close to where that tornado is likely on the ground or has been on the ground. Still have a debris signature, again, showing up on radar. That's what we're looking at right there, again, to the southeast of Ongo. So we have a confirmed tornado now in western Douglas County that is tracking north-northeast. This is south-southwest of Dogwood. This will remain, I think, to the west of Ava. Ava, you're not tornado warned right now, so I think you'll remain in the clear in regard to this particular tornado warned storm that is over western Douglas County. I'm going to go back to our radar view so we can track this out. Hopefully it'll swap out. There you go. And you can see, I think kind of what we're seeing right here, here's the circulation. So this is the tornado. So you're sensing some of the higher reflectivities. Radar is already picking up debris in the air, and I think maybe some of these higher reflectivities that we're seeing could be some of that debris that the radar is sensing as well. So maybe a couple of different ways that we're seeing a debris signature on radar with that particular storm against southeast of the Ongo area. That storm will continue to track. It looks like northeast at about, or north-northeast at about 35. That is roughly the corridor that it will take. So it looks like it'll be very close to Highway 14, which is right here. So here's the tornado. Highway 14 should move across Highway 14 in under 10 minutes. Should be very close to the county line in about 15 minutes. And then from there, it looks like it could be near Highway 60 if that circulation holds. It should be near Highway 60 in around 20 to 25 minutes from now. So again, a tornado warning, now confirmed tornado in western Douglas County between Ongo and Arden.
And, Jamie, I just reached out to the sheriff there in Douglas County, Chris DeGase. He's going to check into that with the Office of Emergency Management for the Breeden Church in the areas you just mentioned, County Roads 542 and 546.
Yeah, and that's just kind of looking at, so kind of triangulating where the storm is. So here's Ongo, Red Bank, Arden. This is where the tornado is. Highway 14 located to the north, north of this tornado. This is just one of several tornado-producing thunderstorms that we've had this afternoon and now this evening. Matt's been on earlier, on and off throughout the afternoon.
I believe this is the fourth confirmed tornado, confirmed tornado today. So it is just very tight rotation. Also, Jamie, don't want to lose sight of the second tornado warning that we have for areas north of Highway 60 in Fordland. That's starting to tighten back up. And so 10 minutes ago, we was looking like it was going to split those circulations. It was looking like it wanted to go broad, and now it's reversing back directions. It's getting stronger again. So north of Fordland, really northeast of Fordland, that's that second area that I think we got to be paying attention to as well. That one's not confirmed, but if it continues down this path, it continues to strengthen, then we may kind of be falling with another confirmed tornado on this.
Yeah, I would say, I think to me, what I'm seeing on radar right now, I would probably put that risk area that you're talking about with that particular thunderstorm. They're north of Highway 60 between Fordland and Diggins. So just a little north of Highway 60 between Fordland and Diggins is the area that Matt is kind of focusing in on. The most concerning area is going to be this circulation in western Douglas County, still south of Highway 14, tracking north-northeast at 35. There is, you know, as you kind of look down the line, and it looks like a new tornado warning has been issued. Well, no, I'm looking at an older tornado warning, the one that is confirmed right now. There is another circulation that I kind of want to highlight, though, that I'm seeing. It could be a new developing circulation, and it would be here near Old Merritt. In westernmost Douglas County. This is southwest of the tornado-warned storm that we're tracking between Ongo and Arden. And that circulation that has been confirmed, you know, it's a circulation that has definitely produced a tornado. That tornado may have lifted, but it has been producing a tornado. That circulation is now located between Ongo and Arden, still located south of Highway 14. I would put it in the vicinity of, for folks that are in that area, kind of hoping I can get a road to pop in. This is a very rural part of Douglas County. County Road AK 541, AK-541. That's very close, just west of that highway. Kiger Mountain is located a little bit northwest of where that circulation is, or possible tornado is. It looks like that circulation has indeed weakened a bit. The hook, though, very apparent still just to the west of Arden. So we'll go back to our radar view. And this is what we've got. That still hasn't updated, but this hook that you see right here, this is the tornado. That hook has now moved roughly to this position. So it's located right here between Ongo and Arden, tracking north-northeast at 35. Let's go ahead and update just some times, some arrival times with that. And that will put it very close to Highway 14 here in about 5 minutes or so. Maybe very close to Dogwood here in about 8 minutes, I would put it. It's 9:02 now, looks like 9:09, so 7 minutes. So again, folks, here along Highway 14 in northwestern Douglas County, there's a very real possibility that a tornado is on the ground now and will impact your area. So please be in your tornado safe space. This tornado should cross Highway 14 in about 5 minutes and then should be up near the county line, the Webster-Douglas County line, in about 10 minutes, and then track into southeasternmost Webster County. I'm going to take that off. Matt has also been watching very closely the storm to the north.
Yeah, Jamie, let's provide an update on, gosh, we got, what, 4 tornadoes? So 1 confirmed tornado warning. We've been really hammering that. I want to talk about the northernmost tornado warning. This kind of line of winds is getting closer into Lebanon. This has been tornado warned for quite some time. As this is moving into Lebanon, I'm not seeing anything at this time that screams rotation. I'm not seeing anything that screams a tornado is about to fall out and hit Lebanon, but fast winds, absolutely. Winds that can be up to 50 to 60 miles per hour. The only area that there has been some signs of rotation has been kind of southeast of Windyville, which is kind of on the border of this tornado warning, closer to Bennett Springs. So Lebanon and Bennett Springs aren't that far apart, but that's that area where there could be some rotation. So in Lebanon, it's about to really pick up for you guys.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing anything that screams tornado at this moment. I know we're in the tornado warning. It just seems like fast winds, heavy rain, really about to pick up in that town.
Yeah, Matt, looking at radar right now, I would guess that in Laclede County, the circulation that we've been tracking is actually, you know, it's kind of right there on top of the Dallas-Laclede County line.
It's right on that
west
polygon.
of Lebanon. Yeah, and so we've got this very broad polygon tornado warning, which it covers a lot of Laclede County, and really most of what we're seeing here is just heavy rainfall and just kind of sampling some of the winds in this area with this surge in the line right there. And there are some gustier winds. It looks like we may be looking at wind gusts of 45 to 55 miles per hour, possibly, coming into the Lebanon area. Still could could knock out some limbs, could cause some power outages. But it looks like the tornado threat is going to stay to the west of Lebanon. And all in all, just kind of looking at radar, I'm going to guess, haven't seen an update, but I'm going to guess we may see that tornado warning at least trimmed up, if not lifted early. I really
I
think.
have asked about that, Jamie. National Weather Service wants to stick with it. So I have asked about it. They want to stick with it because of what can spill out of Windyville and Bennett Springs. So they are also saying they're seeing a TDS northwest of Ava. So this is kind of with that system that we're talking about earlier, that confirmed tornado. So they're saying, hey, they're agreeing with what we're seeing, where we're saying confirmed tornado. We're seeing signs of rotation. National Weather Service saying, hey, this is still on the ground. We don't have any indication that it's lifted.
And that tornado looks like it would be just about on top of Arden. It may be on the west-northwest side of Arden, at least in the image that I'm looking at. But that tornado looks like it's very close to Arden right now. Still looking at a tight circulation. You mentioned a debris signature, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a peek at that and see what I see here. And it still looks like there may be a debris signature very close to Arden. So we may have had some damage in the Arden area in western Douglas County. So we may want to put in some phone calls there, see what's going on in and around Arden in western Douglas County. This is west of Ava. I do want to reiterate that Ava residents, looks like this tornado is going to stay to your west and northwest. I'm not worried that it's going to somehow make it into the Ava area, but it will be tracking across Highway 14, I think, over the next 5 minutes. It looks like it may track very close to Tigris. So for folks along Highway 14, particularly near Tigris, remain in your tornado safe space. There is a very real possibility of a tornado moving through that corridor. And this tornado, again, has been confirmed by radar. We have seen debris sensed by radar, and that's why we know that there has been a tornado on the ground. Just looking at outside of that, you can see further downstream, this is the other area that I was watching here between Old Merritt and Red Bank. Now, I don't believe that this is currently tornado warned, but you can see that hook right there. And we may be looking at a circulation that is trying to get better organized to the east of Old Merritt. This is the one that we're most concerned about. Probably a tornado either on top of or very close to Arden right now. It looks like it may be moving north out of that community and continuing north-northeast up toward Highway 14.
And Jamie, this gets very messy. We're talking about the same area potentially getting hit again with a tornado. It gets messy because the sirens may be going off. And in this area, there's probably not sirens in the first place, but people get into shelter. They expect things to be safe. They get out of shelter, and then another tornado moves back in. So the same area in western Douglas County that's under tornado warnings, that's in shelter, you got to be patient with us. I think this threat is still going to linger. With that being said, let's issue some all clears, Jamie. If you're in Christian County, anywhere in Christian County, you're in the clear for tonight. Rogersville, you're in the clear for tonight. Springfield, you've been in the clear for a couple hours. Marshfield generally looks like the worst of it has also moved for you. Fair Grove, Buffalo, just kind of following up the line. Hermitage, Tunas, you're in the clear for tonight. Another tornado warning just issued, though, to the north, Jamie, kind of matching the Laclede tornado warning. So,
and want to go back to that Arden tornado, western Douglas County. Spotters do claim that they see a rain-wrapped, or claim that it is rain-wrapped, that they can't quite visualize the tornado, and that makes sense, I mean, given what we're seeing on radar right now. So for folks in that area, there probably is or has been a tornado on the ground in the Arden community and southwest of Arden. But it may not even be visible because of the heavy rainfall that's occurring in conjunction with that tornado. I do want to point out, this is the circulation that we're most concerned about. This is a tornado-producing circulation, but there is another weak circulation here that we've also been watching closely, and we'll continue to watch it. I'm just throwing that out there because it's kind of like an early heads up that this isn't the only thing that we're watching here in western Douglas County. That southernmost circulation is just southwest of Red Bank,
Jamie,
weak at this time.
If you can, go to the north, new tornado warning. This is kind of expanding on the current tornado warning that was in Laclede County. It's going to include parts of Dallas County, even parts of Camden County, parts of Pulaski County are now in this tornado warning, and this is that area that undoubtedly very fast winds, like going through Lebanon right now, winds probably close to 50, 60 miles per hour. This warning has been very expanded. It's very broad brush, carries a very massive area. No circulation is as tight as the other ones. No circulation is jumping out at me screaming,
Yeah.
I think, an immediate tornado on the ground. But want to at least provide an update for the people that are seeing tornadoes, their phones going off, the sirens are going off for you. Let's give an update for them, Jamie.
And we're giving a sampling right now. You can see on the left of your screen a shot out of Lebanon. That is I-44.
Mile marker 129 on Jefferson.
So Jefferson Avenue in the Lebanon area, you can see the very heavy rainfall, frequent lightning flashes. That area is currently tornado warned, but the circulation that we're watching is not in Lebanon. It's actually back here near the Windyville area. This is a very broad tornado warning. This isn't focused. If we were to focus it in, it would probably be just for this area. But because you have this surge in wind energy, and there is a concern that maybe we get a little circulation that tries to develop along that surge that is making its way across Lebanon, they've issued this very broad tornado warning that actually extends all the way to the east in Waynesville. So if you're watching from Waynesville, yes, you are under a tornado warning. But right now, the tornado threat is really focused well to your west, over in eastern sections of Dallas County and maybe getting into westernmost sections of Laclede County. Really, at this time, I think the most concerning area, and that circulation really looks like it's tightened back up again, that is on top of Highway 14. So we're zooming in on where we probably still have a tornado that has been on the ground, and it may try to develop once again.
I still have a debris ball, Jamie.
You still see a debris
There's still
signature
a debris
there?
signature.
Okay, so
Just to the south of Tigris.
Yeah, so that is just south of Highway 14. That is tracking. So we're getting pretty close to Highway 14. So I'm going to go
Pretty
down.
large debris ball right on, about to cross 14. I mean, very large debris
Yeah.
ball.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some information off here. Very close to Highway 14. This is in the vicinity of County Road 14-535. Trying to get some other roads to pop up. Matt, if you could, look and see if there are any landmarks. There is I think that's Beaver Creek.
Yeah.
Beaver Creek is maybe very, very close to where we probably have a tornado occurring right now. This is just south of Highway 14. That circulation looks like it will be moving across Tigris, Highway 14 momentarily. Folks, remain in your tornado safe space in and around Tigris along Highway 14. The next community that might be under the gun would be Grenada. That is a little further downstream. Looking at some other roads in that area, County Road K-546, that is out ahead of where this tornado would be tracking over the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Jamie, you're spot on. It's Beaver Creek. I mean, this is pretty much on top of Beaver Creek.
Yeah.
That's where that is. Beaver Creek and 14. I think that's the area that this debris ball is really at.
Yeah, and
Beaver Creek and 14.
I'm trying to get some other street names to pop up.
I mean,
Just not having much luck there, but
it is a very rural area.
Yeah, it is very close to Highway 14, very close to Tigris. Again, it looks like we've got a tornado on the ground. This is probably, I would guess, Matt, and you can say for yourself, I think this is maybe our strongest circulation that we've had so far today. In terms of like longevity, I mean, it looks like we may have had maybe a tornado on the ground for at least several miles.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna swap this out for our debris signature. And Matt was mentioning, the size of it. Here it is, right here. So here's Tigris. Here's Highway 14. So this is the debris signature that we're talking about. So radar is picking up debris from a tornado that's likely occurring right now, just to the south of Highway 14.
And Jamie, in the latest scan, that has now crossed 14. So that's
Yeah.
a little bit old of a scan. Look how consistent that debris ball is, too.
Yeah. So what I'm doing
not
is,
seeing it too well in that image, but
so I'm backing it up all the way to 852. That's about the beginning of when we start to see a debris signature.
Boom.
There you can see the ball right there between Ongo and Red Bank. Next scan.
Boom.
Right on top of Arden. I think we probably had a tornado move through or very close to Arden. And then now it looks like the debris signature has weakened somewhat, but it's still there. It's still located over Highway 14. So we may still have a tornado on the ground. At the very least, I mean, the circulation would indicate that there may still be a tornado occurring with this storm that is moving across western Douglas County. I want to go back to our wind data, see what that looks like. That is the circulation. I mean, you can see how tight everything has gotten. I mean, you've got this hot pink color. These are very strong outbound winds. You've got the bright greens. This is where the tornado would be occurring, right here. This is just south of Highway 14. This image is a little bit old. It looks like that tornado has now crossed Highway 14. Looks like it's located maybe very close to or just to the east of Tigris, and it looks like it may move very close to Grenada. It looks like also that tornado, if it's still on the ground, would be rain wrapped, and I'll show you why. When I swap out our wind data for what it looks like currently on radar, you can see that basically you've kind of lost that hook. This is where the possible tornado is, right here. You can still kind of see where the hook is, but notice we've seen this sort of fill in. So we probably still have, if there's a tornado on the ground, it is rain wrapped. You're not going to be able to see it. You're just going to see heavy rainfall, lots of lightning, and you're going to see that wind pickup if you're in the vicinity of where this is. That will continue to track across northwestern Douglas County. It looks like it may try to sneak into southeasternmost Webster County, and then could possibly get into southwestern parts of Wright County. So Webster and Wright County residents, particularly between Seymour and Mansfield, we're watching this closely. You are tornado warned. Currently the tornado is south of you, south of the county line, still in northwestern Douglas County. I mentioned earlier that I'm also still watching, and the circulation has not tightened up, but I am still watching further south. So this is the tornado warned portion right here, but you can see this hook. And there is a weak circulation right here. This is located north of Highway 76. That's pretty close to Arno, just to the west-northwest of Arno. So not tornado warned, but an area worth watching as it too kind of follows that same track as the tornado warned storm that is in northwestern Douglas County. Matt?
Yeah, I want to issue some all clears. We're saying about this bad news with this confirmed tornado, still seeing signs of that debris ball. If we can go to the 3x3. Good news right now, Marshfield giving you the all clear. We have been checking this camera all night long. Rain has really started to slow down. Even the intensity on the rain's done. Your tornado chances in Marshfield, those are wrapped up. Over in Diggins and Fordland, those are two areas that I know a lot of people have spent time in shelter. If you're still in shelter in Marshfield, Diggins, and Fordland, issuing an all clear for you. So those are people that can start to get out. Even Ongo, I know that's another area, Jamie, that has had this tornado threat move in. If you're taking shelter in Ongo, that's another place that I'm going to issue an all clear at this time. Still multiple tornado warnings, still a confirmed tornado on the ground, still areas that we're watching out for potential more confirmed tornadoes. We've had 4 tonight. I hope we don't have any more, but starting to get a little bit more places that can get that all clear and kind of head to bed and start resting easy for tonight, Jamie.
Yeah, and you mentioned confirmed tornadoes. So
yeah.
I've gone ahead and kind of plotted our storm reports, and this is just right now. I mean, this is what we know right now, and I think this is based more on, one is probably observed by a person, the other one observed by radar, but you can see this is where we have at this stage at least reported tornadoes. One to the southwest of Springfield again earlier this evening, and then also near Sparta earlier this evening. So that's where we are right now, but that's probably just the beginning of this reporting process. We're probably going to see indications of other at least weak tornado touchdowns, and right now the area that I think we probably may be able to confirm soon is in western Douglas County. It looks like we have seen a tornado, at least based on what we're looking at on radar. We've probably seen a tornado touchdown that was near the Arden area in western Douglas County, and it looks like that tornado now is north of Highway 14, very close to southeastern Webster and southwestern Wright County. It's still south of Highway 60, but the circulation.
Jamie, pay attention to Seymour, especially northwest of Seymour. This is an area that's kind of in a tornado warning, kind of not in a tornado warning. This looks like I'd imagine another tornado warning that's going to focus for areas that are to the northeast of Seymour. This is that rotation that was over Fordland and Diggins. This looks like another place that trying to see a tornado organize as well.
Yeah, this is what Matt's talking about. If we go back to the radar image that I have up right now, so this is a little northeast of Diggins. So here's Highway 60. This is the circulation that Matt is talking about. This is not currently tornado warned, but it is worth watching. It is also fully inside the thunderstorm activity that is moving through that area. So this is what it looks like on radar right now. So when Matt said earlier, this is it's kind of a messy scenario as far as like pinpointing exactly where these possible tornadoes would be occurring. I mean, some of these circulations, they're not like they're out on the leading edge where you would expect them to be. Some of these circulations are embedded within the thunderstorm activity, but can still produce weak tornadoes. The area that we're concerned about right now still has to be, first and foremost, this area that is now, looks like it's very close to Grenada. Let's kind of zoom in on that. Let's see if we can get that community to pop in. Just some roads in the area, very close to Grenada. That is County Road 14-531. Honey Creek is in the vicinity of where the circulation that may still be producing a tornado in western Douglas County.
I do not see a debris ball at this moment. We did for, 10 straight minutes. It was producing a tornado on the ground.
Yeah.
This latest scan, I don't see it. So hopefully that continues.
Yeah,
hopefully it doesn't continue to drop back, but not seeing debris at this moment.
The circulation right now is located north of Grenada, north of Zenda, and it has broadened out big time. So so that's the portion of the line that we're looking at, and we're going to show you what we're seeing on radar. And when this switches out, this is an older scan, but you can see even at this stage, we're sort of losing that focus. So in previous scans, when it was producing a tornado, that focus was very tight. Now it's starting to broaden out, an indication that, at least for now, the circulation appears to be weakening. I don't think that we have a tornado actively on the ground at this stage in northern Douglas County, but it looks like they have updated the tornado warning.
That is a good sign. So this is just a tornado warning, not a confirmed tornado. So it's a sign that the National Weather Service kind of agreeing with us where it goes, hey, this was producing a tornado. We don't see it at this moment. We're going to continue with this path.
And Matt, it looks like, this is a really big boxy tornado warning that does include areas like Norwood and Mountain Grove. Ava, you are now under a tornado warning. I know for the last hour it's been off to your west. But now that tornado threat has kind of gotten into the Ava area. It's a big, broad warning. I think, and Matt, you can read the warning, but I think what they're doing is they're trying to take into account activity that is south of that tornado-warned storm. So you can see, and I'm going to have to broaden this out a little bit. So this is the area that has been tornado-warned, probably produced a tornado back near Arden. Notice down the line, you've got a little bit of a hook right there. We've got new development further southwest. So I think what the Weather Service is trying to do is they're trying to just kind of take into account development further southwest. There is a weak circulation here west of Ava that is tracking north-northeast. So that circulation would stay to the west and northwest of Ava. But again, there's new development, new thunderstorm development off to the southwest. And I think the Weather Service is just trying to stay out ahead of any possible circulations that might develop further south along this line. This is now a line of thunderstorms that is tracking east away from Highway 65. It's still located between Highway 65 and Highway 63. And within that line, we have still some lingering supercellular type thunderstorms that may still be capable of producing tornadoes. It's just that right now, we've seen most of the circulations kind of lose their focus, lose their intensity. Matt, I don't know if I know have been talking about this. It looks like they did issue a new tornado warning. That circulation northeast of Diggins.
Yeah, that's the one we wanted to see them issue a warning for. They just issued that. Also, trying to recap everything, Jamie. We got 4 tornado warnings at this moment, top to bottom. Starting in Lebanon, there's fast winds that are moving through Lebanon, especially to the northeast of Lebanon. I'm not seeing anything in this moment in this entire very broad brush tornado warning that screams imminent tornado.
Yeah,
there's still a tornado warning.
I don't see a focus circulation anywhere in there. As you said, I think if we've got anything, it's straight line winds, and I think we're really not even talking about severe criteria winds. I think we're looking at 35 to 45, maybe 50 mile per hour winds in western Laclede County, but I don't see any focal point that would indicate a circulation.
So if you're watching from Lebanon, that's why we're not talking about this too much. If you're watching from Laclede County, Camden County, Pulaski County, we're not seeing anything that looks like a tornado is about to touch down anytime soon in that area. So if it tightens back up, we will talk on it more. I promise we absolutely will. But we've been focusing on these other tornado warnings because what's happening in Laclede County does not look as severe, does not look too bad. So, Jamie, 2 different tornado warnings when we go to the south. A new one just issued for areas, northeast of Seymour, really north of Seymour right now. That was that tornado that produced over in Sparta, then it lifted, then it produced, then it lifted, produced. So it's getting back to strengthening up. And then we have, of course, another tornado just to the west of Ava. And I know Ava has been managing to dodge most of this. Ava's been managing to dodge most of this activity so far, and they are under a tornado warning at this time.
Matt, if you could just kind of give me the information on that newest tornado warning. I know it's for the High Prairie area. It does look like that circulation is now just to the
They have that northeast at 15, so that's
northeast
a crawling
at 15.
pace.
So it's still southwest of High Prairie, but it looks like that circulation is very close to P Highway, traveling northeast at 15 miles per hour. So with that, since we've not done that for this particular circulation, let's go ahead and track that out. Looks like that's roughly the ground that it's going to cover. So you can see High Prairie, it looks like about 943. So again, if you're watching from High Prairie, in and around High Prairie, tornado warning in your area, please get into your tornado safe space. Looks like the tornado risk would kind of peak in the High Prairie area at about 943 this evening. And then from there, it should continue on to just kind of looking. Highway 38 is kind of runs through that area. It runs through High Prairie. It looks like it would be near Highway 38, 943, and then crossing north of Highway 38 after that. Looks like that circulation would then kind of carry on across northeastern sections of Webster County. Might get into, if it holds together, might get into the Grove Spring area. In addition to that, we are also still tracking, again, this line is thunderstorms. And within this line, we still have probably the most concerning part, which appears now to be crossing the county line into southwestern Wright County. Looks like that tornado threat still south of Highway 60, but making its way north. That circulation too, I'm kind of looking at different radar views right now. That circulation has really broadened out. I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is what it looks like right now on radar. So this is an area that we've been watching very closely. Probably, the storm probably produced a tornado. I think that tornado may have been on the ground for at least several miles in western Douglas County, impacting areas around Arden. At this stage, though, this is what we've got. And when I look at this on radar, what you see is more of a linear shear axis. What I mean by shear is you've got winds coming toward the radar site here where it's green, and winds coming away from the radar site where it's red. This is more of a line. You don't see this tight focal point that would indicate you probably have a tornado occurring. So I think the tornado threat, at least for the time being, has diminished, but we will continue to watch it closely. The tornado warning does remain in effect. There is still some tornado risk if you're watching from Mansfield over toward Norwood. It's just at this point, I think we've seen a weakening of that particular thunderstorm and that particular circulation. And it still needs to be watched closely, and that's why the tornado warning does remain. For folks down to the south around Ava, I don't see anything just jumping out, screaming at me that there is a tornado occurring, but there is, and I'll go back to our radar view, other radar view here. Let's see if I can get that to kind of pop in. What we'll see here is west of Ava, there's still a little bit of a notch right here. So this is where that weak circulation has been showing up on radar, and that's not very far to the west of Ava. So folks, if you're watching from in and around Ava, it's better to be safe than sorry on this thing. There is still a risk that there could be a tornado occurring with this feature right here. That's south of Highway 14, just to the west of Ava. That is tracking roughly northeast, and that would head up toward the Bryant community. The other circulation that we may be looking at developing would be, you can see this here to the southwest of Arno. You can see we've got another little nub right there, another little hook, and we may see a circulation come out of that. That's southwest of Jackson Mill. Again, currently this area is tornado warned, so those are probably the areas that I'm most concerned about. We've got a feature that's now crossing into southeastern or southwestern Wright County. We've also got a circulation just to the west of Ava, and it looks like we've got another circulation that may be brewing here to the southwest of Jackson Mill or a little south of Highway 76. So there's still some concern. Again, that tornado warning covers a lot of ground here in Wright County, from Mansfield east to Mountain Grove, down to almost Van Zandt, and then west across Ava. So it's a big box under a tornado warning. The focal point it really has been with regard to this part of the line, but there are hints that there's still some concern right here, and we may have a developing concern right there with that part of the line as it tracks off toward the northeast. As Matt has done throughout the evening, again, for folks further west, I mean, we can give you the all clear here along and west of Highway 65.
A lot of places have the all clear right now. A lot of places, Jamie.
And Matt, with this tornado threat continuing, I mean, is there, the tornado watch runs through 10 o'clock. I'm kind of curious as to whether or not they're going to extend that. At this stage, we have 3 pockets that we're watching there is some concern for tornadoes. Right now, I don't see anything that's like screaming tornado on the ground. It's just that risk is there. So Laclede County east into Pulaski County, eastern Webster County into Wright County, much of western Douglas County. That whole corridor for roughly this entire stretch of the line, this whole corridor is tornado warned. Now within that, there are pockets. This is an area that we were watching. I'm really not seeing anything that's jumping out at me right now. We'll see what they do with that warning. The other area was here. That has kind of broadened out a little bit. And then the other area is this portion of the line that continues to track across western Douglas County and southwestern Wright County. Jesse?
Yeah, Jamie, while you're waiting on the National Weather Service to kind of figure out what they want to do with their next steps, a couple things for you right now. Number one is the live picture you're looking at on the right side of your screen. That is live in Sparta. Our reporter, Michael McLaughlin, out in that area. When that presumed tornado or strong storm, don't want to call it what it may not be yet, but when that came through earlier, Matt and I were on and thought that this might have been in the area of Sparta High School. But what you're seeing right now is just to the southeast of that. You've got the Sparta Fire Department out there clearing trees at Estate and Jenkins Road. That's just to the southeast of Sparta High School. So that's one area that had some damage. A lot of trees down. We've heard reports of several homes damaged as well. Now what's behind me here, if we can take this full, this is in Ozark. The city of Ozark posting this just a short time ago, saying this is 6th Avenue from Jackson Street to Diane Street in Ozark. That's going to be closed due to this large tree. Obviously, this taken when the sun was still up, but avoid that area. 6th between Jackson and Diane Street in Ozark. It's going to be closed until they can get this big tree removed from the area. Continuing to monitor potential reports, Jamie, from what you guys had said was possibly the strongest tornado or strongest possible tornado you saw tonight in the Arden area of western Douglas County, waiting on reports from the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, but nothing yet. I'll send it back over to you guys.
Yeah. And Jesse, yeah, I mean, at that point, yeah, it looked like, radar was confirming a tornado on the ground. That was a confirmed tornado warning in western Douglas County. So, yeah, folks in and around Arden, they're probably sustained at least some damage, some wind damage. At this stage of the game, we still have a lot of tornado warnings. We just don't have a lot to go, hey, that's a tornado that's occurring right now. So we'll kind of start out broad. We've got this line. It's now located fully east of Highway 65. This portion of the line, this is an area that we have been watching very closely. It's looking weaker and weaker. The other area is this feature right in here to the east of Marshfield, kind of holding its own. The other area here that has now made its way almost to Highway 60 and southwestern Wright County, that likely, again, produced a tornado when it was down near Arden in western Douglas County. And then further south, down toward Ava and southwest of Ava, we've kind of got the trailing edge of this line of thunderstorms that at times is showing some hints of circulation, but I don't see anything at this stage along that portion of the line in western Douglas County that's jumping out and saying we've got something that's occurring right now. But when we zoom in, you can see we still have kind of hints of, maybe hints of a little bit of a notch right there just to the northeast of Ava. And then we've got hints of maybe a little bit of a notch right there to the north of Rome. And again, these features are tracking roughly like that. So we're still watching it.
Jamie, an area I'm watching right now is north of Lebanon on Highway 5. That's the road when you leave Lebanon. If you're going to Lake of the Ozarks, it switches between one lane on one side, and then there's 2 lanes, and you go back and forth between who has that double lane. Winds are about 55 to 60 miles per hour across Highway 5 right now. They're in a straight line, rather than a tornado. But looking in this entire broad tornado warning that's happening in Laclede County, parts of Camden County, parts of Pulaski County, once again, stressing what you're seeing, Jamie, I'm not seeing anything that says tornado on the ground. I'm not seeing anything in this area that looks like a tornado is imminent as well. Just the biggest threat is along Highway 5. Winds between 50 to 60 miles per hour. That's going to be enough to knock down trees, to knock down trash cans, to rip off some shingles on your roof, to knock down power outages, knock down power lines and power outages as well. There's the shot in Lebanon that we just showed you on the screen, and expecting rain to pick back up in Lebanon, thunderstorms to pick back up in Lebanon. But with this entire area, I know you're under a tornado warning, but nothing looks like an immediate tornado threat here for me, Jamie.
Right, and just kind of, I want to kind of zoom in on Highway 38. This is that feature that we've been kind of watching. It's kind of on the back end of everything. They're very close to, it's west of Hartville. Trying to see if I can, it's west of New Grove. So kind of just going to get my bearings over here. So still looking, this is, and actually this is a different circulation. So here's High Prairie. Looks like we had a little bit of an animation there. High Prairie, there was a circulation that was tracking across Highway 38 here. That has since weakened, but it looks like we may have a new circulation showing up to the west of New Grove. So here's New Grove. It's back in here. It looks like we may have a little bit of a circulation showing up. And Matt, you can take a look at that. But that may be a new feature worth watching. It is technically in the tornado warning. So, I mean, folks, you know, whether you're in High Prairie or northeast up to Grove Spring, take this seriously. There is going to be that potential as this area of thunderstorm activity, this cluster of thunderstorms, tracks north-northeast. We could see a tornado get spit out. And we've seen one circulation kind of track north across High Prairie, and now it looks like we've got maybe a new circulation showing up to the west of New Grove. So those are the concerns with that tornado warning. Further south, I think what we're finding down here in the Mansfield area, and that looks pretty mean coming into Mansfield. I mean, you can see that notch very, very clearly. I'm not seeing a tight circulation, but you can see how, you can see this hook right in here. So we've got winds kind of coming in like this, and you got winds coming out through here. Very gusty winds likely pushing across Bryant, pushing toward the Mansfield area. So I think we're still kind of watching to see if maybe a circulation can kind of focus in that part of the line there to the south of Mansfield. Folks in Mansfield, east in Norwood, I mean, you guys are under a tornado warning that extends south into Douglas County, across Highway 76 down to the Ava area. Down toward Ava at this stage of the game.
Jamie, let's go back up north. Let's talk about Laclede County, hopefully for the last time. Their tornado warning has been canceled.
Okay,
so
good news there.
We were just saying 5 minutes ago, I'm not too concerned about anything tornadic. National Weather Service has just canceled that tornado warning and said they have replaced it with a flash flood warning for all the rain that has occurred in that area. Multiple inches of rain. You could still get wind gusts between 50 and 60 miles per hour if you're in Laclede County, just not a tornado. So hopefully that's the last time we have to talk about Laclede County. Hopefully we don't see anything fire back up in that area, and that's progressing in the right way.
And Matt, that southernmost portion of the line that's now getting into Wright County, it's still in western Douglas County, it's kind of taken on that same look as the portion that you were just describing,
starting
where
to get
there
more
was
broad.
more broad.
Yeah.
This is more of a kind of a wind signature as opposed to a tornado signature. And it looks like we've got some gusty winds certainly that are moving across the Mansfield area, just kind of sampling some of that. Looks like we might have some 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts in and around Mansfield and south of Mansfield across Bryant. We're probably getting some gusty winds also in the Ava area, although just kind of looking at this, they don't look terribly strong. But what's happening is it looks like we're seeing kind of a transition from, you know, a thunderstorm that has this hook that we would call a supercell to more of a bowing line of thunderstorms. I mean, we're seeing this surge right here. These are winds that are surging toward the northeast and likely producing some higher wind gusts. Maybe not quite severe, but at least higher wind gusts. And we'll watch this to see if a circulation can try to focus, but at this stage we're not seeing a focused circulation. So I think we've seen that tornado threat diminish for the time being with that part of the line that I think at one point was producing a tornado in western Douglas County near Arden. Down toward the Ava area, you can see still that southernmost thunderstorm, that tail end Charlie, that's what they would call it, southwest of Ava. You can see there appears to be a little bit of a notch right here. There may be a very weak circulation in this area, but it's I want to stress weak. I don't see a really focused circulation southwest of Ava. But for folks in Ava, across much of Douglas County into Wright County, you are still under a tornado warning. I'm just trying to kind of put this out there as how I see it. Kind of gauging that risk as how I see it right now at this moment.
Jamie, I would say the general trend, if we talk about how things have changed, I mean, we've been on air since, I think,
You've
7
been on
o'clock.
air, yeah.
Things over the last 30 to 45 minutes, it's
Yeah.
getting weaker. Things are starting to fall apart. We still have multiple tornado warnings, so I can't issue an all clear. I can't tell you we're not going to see another tornado, but the general trend is we're running out of gas for these storms. The sun has gone down. A lot of this fuel is starting to disappear. So we're at the point where I expect these storms to be getting weaker, not stronger as the night goes on. It's a matter of how much longer are
Yeah.
they going to last? How much more gas is still in the tank
how
that
much
we have
more
to get
fuel
through?
is still there? Yeah.
So there's still some fuel in the tank at this moment, but I think we're getting to the point that they're starting to run out of gas, and we're seeing signs of that. These storms are getting weaker, not stronger, over the last half hour.
And the tornado watch that's in fact, Matt, if you want to try to pull that up, the tornado watch that got extended was extended through 10 o'clock this evening. So the expectation again is that as we push deeper into the evening hours, we've already lost the sun, and temperatures start to cool. So we start to lose that instability. We start to lose that fuel that's driving these thunderstorms and has driven these thunderstorms throughout the afternoon. And as we see that fuel level get lower and lower and lower, these storms start to get weaker and weaker and weaker. And we're starting to see the elements that we were really concerned about, these areas of focused wind energy, well, they're starting to just kind of fade away. Still looking, I think, at some gusty winds, frequent lightning, very heavy rainfall. I do want to, that's kind of maybe the other story to this, is that on radar right now, and I'll pop up rainfall, very impressive totals that have prompted flash flood warnings in many communities. It's a little tough to see that because of all the colors right there, but we've got tornado warnings in really across most of Greene County, north into southeastern Polk, southwestern, really across most of Dallas County, up toward Camden County, into western Laclede County. We've got a flash flood warning in effect for the Highlandville area. Flash flood warning that extends southwest away from Springfield down toward Aurora. The rain has stopped, good news, but there are pockets in here, one near Marionville where it looks like 3 to 5 inches of rainfall has fallen. There's another stripe across western Greene County from between Chesapeake and Republic up toward Bodark of probably 3 to in excess of 5 inches of rainfall. Another pocket of 2 to 4 inch rains around Conway. And on and on. I mean, that's what we're seeing are these stripes of very heavy rainfall that likely, at the very least, produce some localized flooding, especially street flooding in the cities or towns. And out away from the towns, we're probably looking at some creek flooding. And we may see some low water crossings impacted by this flooding that's ongoing. And now that we've moved past sunset, it makes it very dangerous, especially if you're traveling some of these county highways where you will encounter low water crossings, and it may be hard to see that water moving across the roadway. And we'll stress it again, as we do every time that we get into these flash flood situations. If you encounter water moving across the road, turn around, find an alternate route rather than try to drive through that flooded roadway.
Another positive news, Jamie, just down to 1 tornado warning at this moment. So the tornado warning that was northeast of Seymour, that one, I believe, was canceled rather than expired. So we're just down to 1 tornado warning. It's the tornado warning in Douglas and parts of Wright County. That's the only one we have right now. So it's that general trend we've been talking about, things getting weaker and weaker and weaker. It's a matter of, do we got one more? Does the atmosphere have one more it's going to try to produce or not? So that's the game that we're playing right now, and hopefully we can kind of wrap this up. And I think everyone wants to get an all clear. I think everyone wants to go to bed safely, but at this point we can't fully give that for areas along 63.
Yeah. And that tornado warning, that very broad tornado warning, does run through 10 o'clock this evening.
Okay.
So, I mean, we still technically have 17 minutes to go with that tornado warning that's over southern Wright County and northern sections of Douglas County. As you mentioned, though, I mean, the signs are moving in a good direction as it looks like these storms are continuing to gradually weaken. And as they weaken, their ability to draw air into the thunderstorms and tighten up that column into a circulation that might produce a tornado, their ability to do that is getting less and less and less as every minute goes by. So again, hopes are those trends continue, and I think that they will. Tornado watch does remain in effect for those areas through 10 o'clock. The tornado warning that we've been speaking of, that's from Hartville south to Ava, and also includes Norwood east toward Mountain Grove. That runs through 10 o'clock this evening as well. I want to take a peek and see what folks at the Weather Service office are saying, and I don't see anything new over there, which is good news. I think they're probably kind of doing the same thing that we're doing. We're just kind of watching this, seeing if the trends will continue in this direction. Looking at radar right now, you can see the line. It's made its way into Mansfield. It's made its way into Ava. Likely getting some gusty winds with this portion, that signature right there on radar. And looking at that, we'll swap this out for a peek at the winds within those thunderstorms. And what you see is what we'll see. And that is not much. When you take a look at that, you don't see that tight circulation that we would go, aha, that's a tornado or possible tornado. You can still see that we've got kind of a broad circulation here along Highway 60 near Mansfield. And we're still kind of watching that area, that southernmost storm. It is kind of, it's the southernmost. It's the one that's able to access that fuel supply that's still kind of flowing into the storms from the south. But right now, we're not seeing any signs that is really intensifying in any significant way and intensifying in a way that might produce a tornado. So again, things are looking better and better as the minutes go by, at least in regard to a severe weather tornado potential.
And I can let you know, Jamie, just as far as power outages go, I know that what we're seeing right now on the Association of Missouri Electric Cooperatives map in Christian County, 776 folks there, all White River Valley Electric Cooperative customers, and then just to the east of that in Douglas County, they're looking at between 100 and, there you go, 238. So, and those are the two areas that we've seen the most activity most recently that you guys have been pointing out.
And you know, Jesse, when you look at that map, or you look at that power outage map, it's a great way of you're almost like looking back in time. You're looking at where the storms have probably produced severe weather, because it's probably severe weather that's causing those power outages, causing limbs to come down that would take out power lines, or maybe even blowing over power lines.
And just as we saw with what we saw out in Sparta earlier, trees down, a lot of that. I know we've seen some flooding concerns in Christian County. Obviously, our rivers and creeks are going to be way up right now, so those low water crossings, I know in the last 10 years I've been here, a number of folks who have tried to cross those low water crossings, and it doesn't end well a lot of the time. So just avoid those, really not just for tonight only, but even through the next 24 to 48 hours, Jamie.
Yeah, and Matt, I think you've been watching this more closely than I, but we are going to see these thunderstorms diminish, but I think there's going to be another wave later tonight into tomorrow morning that comes into southwest Missouri and northwest Arkansas. We're not worried about tornadoes.
Yeah, the question is, this round that we got overnight was much stronger than what was expected. And we were talking about using that analogy of fuel, some of that fuel getting used up, how much is left over in the tank. But there's definitely chance for more thunderstorms to start the day off on Monday. Looks like most of that will wrap up by the time we get into later Monday. And we have beautiful weather coming for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Feels like forecast can hit 100 degrees later this week, but it's a matter of pushing out this soggy weather, and tomorrow's still an opportunity to get some storms.
Matt, you were talking about fuel in the tank. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at instability levels here in this graphic, and here's our scale right here: low, moderate, high, very high. Notice the amount of green that we see in our area. That's because we've had thunderstorms moving through. They've been working over the atmosphere. The problem is it's also very humid out there, so these thunderstorms can only do so much to diminish the instability, and they have diminished the instability, and that's why we've seen the overall severe weather threat diminish over the past half an hour as that line of storms pushes east toward Highway 63. There's a big reservoir of instability, though, off to the west in Kansas and Oklahoma, and that is the area that will likely see new thunderstorm development overnight tonight. And we could see a complex of storms kind of come across southwest Missouri, northwest Arkansas into the morning hours. Again, not really concerned about tornadoes, but there could be some strong wind gusts and very heavy rainfall. We've already seen areas pick up several inches of rain with thunderstorms this afternoon, and that risk is that there could be another wave of very heavy rainfall impacting parts of the area later tonight into tomorrow morning that might impact the morning commute. So tomorrow morning could be interesting for folks as they're trying to get back to work after the weekend.
Jamie, we are talking about, for the last few hours, the threat has been tornado, tornado, tornado. We've been hammering that, and every once in a while we've mentioned the rain. I know you have mentioned about the flash flood warnings, but the threat that we have is now going to shift. So once this tornado warning expires, once the threat has really wrapped up of a tornado, we're not done with severe weather. You mentioned that with another wave that could be coming in, and also the impacts of all the rain that's been left behind, where we have considerable flash flood warnings that have been issued. Some places picking up somewhere between 2 to 4 inches of rain in a short amount of time. That's going to cause some problems, especially at night. People driving, people getting stubborn, wanting to drive through all this rain, and the issues with this impact will continue to linger with all this moisture that's going to stick on the ground.
And you mentioned, you were talking about that flash flood threat. Weather Service is talking about a flash flood warning that was just issued for western Miller and eastern Morgan counties, so some counties to our north, north of our friends in Camden County. 2 to 4 inches of rainfall estimated by radar in that area, and they've issued a considerable threat flash flood warning, meaning that they do expect impacts for those communities underneath that flash flood warning up toward eastern Morgan and western Miller County, and that's this warning right in here. But see, this whole area is covered with a flash flood warning. Now, thankfully, the rain has come to an end over a lot of this. So we're these areas where we've seen flash flooding are now given a chance to see those water levels come down. But sometimes it's kind of it's almost like a wave. It has to move through the system, all of this water. And so while the street flooding may be done and over with, we are still likely looking at rises on area creeks and rivers. And that could be impacting some low water crossings. Even where we don't have any rain currently falling, we could still have some impacts on low water crossings where we still have flash flood warnings in Greene County, in Christian County, eastern sections of Lawrence County, even into northeastern Berry County. Probably the area that's getting hardest hit right now with heavy rain, though, has to be Camden County north across Morgan and Miller, and north up toward Columbia. I mean, where you see these yellows, oranges, and reds, we're probably looking at rainfall rates of maybe 1 to 2 inches an hour. You need that to get these pockets that have seen rain totals of 3 to 4 to 5 plus inches. And that rain, again, being as heavy as it is in a short period of time, that's why we've got flash flooding concerns. The tornado concern, though, is continuing to diminish. This is the area that we've really kind of still got, that we're watching. You can see that there's really nothing here that says, we've got a hook, a parent hook echo that we really need to focus in on. This is more of a bowing line segment. That's what we would call it, this little bowing area of thunderstorm activity, producing some gusty winds. Still looking at heavy rainfall and lightning in the Ava area. But when we swap this out and take a look at what the winds look like in that area, what we see is that generally the winds are not very strong, and we're not seeing anything focused. We're not seeing any circulations that are really tightening up. So I think we're probably going to see this tornado warning. They're either going to let it run through 10 o'clock when it expires, or they're going to lift it early. But right now, all we're seeing are just some gusty winds. I don't see any area that would tell me that we have something trying to produce a tornado, which is good news. Looking further north, we'll kind of broaden that view out just to see what's going on further north.
And Jamie, to add to the good news, National Weather Service expiring that tornado warning, that's going to leave us tornado free. So that is good news. This is the first time in quite a while no tornado warnings in the Ozarks.
That's great. It has been an active afternoon and evening. This is the sliver of tornado watch that remains. Roughly areas between Highway 65 and Highway 63. That is set to expire in 8 minutes. We're sitting at 9:52. And I would guess that we're probably not going to see any more tornado concerns out of this line with the thunderstorms showing continued signs of weakening. So with that, we're sitting at 9:53. At 10 o'clock, you can join us on
after the Tonys. We'll be on after the
Tonys. And with that, we'll go ahead on behalf of Matt Hefner and Jesse. Thanks for the work that you guys have done this afternoon. We will send folks back to regular programming.
This is an Ozarks First severe weather update.